Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Iceman 3rd ID. It's good to see everybody, including myself. We are in Farming Simulator 2017. Where we left off was, we made a bunch of bales, and we have no way to pick them up. So what we're going to do is, we're going to modify our tractor. Our case, whatever this is, our case tractor here, our case 240 CVX, we're going to modify it to put on a what do you call it, a front end attachment so that we can pick up these bales. What's the difference between this one and this one? I have no idea, none whatsoever. That says that it's only good on the stair, but I have no idea. I really don't. This is good on the stair multi, and this is good on the 700 Vario, but I think that they go on anything. I'm not sure. So, I think that I'm pretty sure you can modify your vehicle from right here. Fairly certain. Let's change the camera angle. I think. Pretty sure you can. Hold on. How do I modify this vehicle? Okay, let me do this. Let me go over here to the sell your tractor sign. And it says configure or directly sell vehicle. Let's go to configure, customize. Front end loader attachment. Yes. Yes. No. Yes. I don't understand. Engine setup, wheel setup. Okay, so it can take a front end loader attachment already. So I think all I got to do is buy a front end loader attachment for it. So let's do that. Okay, we'll get, I'm not sure what the difference is between these two. They're both $20 a day. One's $8,000, one's $50. We'll get the cheap one, I'm guessing. It looks like this one's got a little bit better range on it, like it's a little bit bigger. It might actually be easier to work with that one than this one. We've only got $41,000, so let's get the cheap one. And the main color, we will change that to case red. And buy it. Bam. There you go. Yep. Good. Okay, good. We are streaming. I had to check the stream to see if we were streaming. I'm looking at the live chat. No one's in here. No one's watching. So, alright, I think we just bought it. Hopefully. Let's see. Yep, we did. But we need an attachment for the bales. To pick up bales with. So, we are going to get one of these. It's a bale spike. You got a pallet fork bale spike. Roll type bale fork, although these I've had less luck with. Welcome to the channel. Large bale fork? Nah, we're just gonna go. We made small bale, so we'll go with the small bale fork. That's $600. We're also gonna make that case red. Buy. Yes. Okay. And what else do we need? We need a bale trailer to put the bales on. So we'll go to baling technology and get the bale trailer. Buy. Yes. Is there anything else I can do to this trailer? No. Okay, purchase the trailer. So we'll go grab the trailer. We'll grab the the front end attachment and the bale fork. And then we can pick up some bales and take those to whatever sale point is on this map. We can take it there and sell them. Alright, so there's our equipment there. So we just drive up to it. And... uh-oh, it's not going to attach. I think I need the big one on the track. Nope, there it goes. It attached. Okay. Now we need to drive up to this. And attach it. There we go. As you can see, we now have a workable front end attachment for our case. Look at that. Now we can pick up bales and put them on the trailer. Since we didn't have enough for the actual bale trailer. Go this way. And this music is really annoying. But hey, if you're just coming to the stream, welcome. Tell me who you are in the chat. That way I can say hi. 'Cause I don't know who's in here, who's not in here. I know I'm in here. Hiya. Iceman 3rd ID. We're farming today. We're going to pick up our bales. This is where we left off. We're making bale money. So we could bail ourselves out of debt with the bank. Pun intended. So what happened last time is we were happily making bales with our baler, and apparently there is a artificial bale limit in the game, and we hit the bale limit, so it wouldn't let us make any more bales. So we're actually gonna have to stack these on the trailer, sell them, get rid of the bales off the map, the game map, and then go make some more bales, or else it's not gonna let us make any more bales. So that's what we'll do. And I'm home from work today because I was training for a PT test and completely destroyed my ankle. So my ankle is like all sorts of different colors. It's like blue and red and purple. And I went to work yesterday, and my ankle swelled up to the point where I could barely take my boot off. So I didn't feel like going to work and ruining my ankle today. So I'm gonna wait. But until then, we're playing some Farming Simulator. And if I could ever find my field where I've got these hay bales at, we'll go pick them up. I do believe it's down here. It's on the south side of the map. Yep, there she blows. Go through, just cut through the bushes right here. There's no fences, so we'll park this in the middle somewhere, like right around here, and we'll try to fit as many bales on here as possible. Go ahead and detach that, and I'll show you how this baler works. All right, so these forks are very sharp. Forks on the front of here. They've got little points on them. I'm trying to show you here. They got little points on them there, and when you run into the bale just sticks to them. But one of the most important things that you have to remember about the bale fork is keeping it level. The more level it is, the easier it's going to be to stick these bales. And you want to get it nice and straight, and then you just lift them up, and bam, look at that. You get a bale on your front end attachment, and then you just back up to the trailer, put it on the trailer, and you get enough of these on there, you can use a tie down to tie these things down. You want them to be kind of nice and straight. That way they don't. Of course, you know, it's fairly difficult to get these nice and straight. So it's more of a functionality issue, really, with these things. Now you put it down, you put some pressure on it, and then you just back up, and bam. It sits right there. Look at that. Is that cool or what? So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to go around and get all these hay bales. Now you can do this in first person if you want to, but I've noticed that it's really hard with a controller in first person to do some of this stuff. Alright, we got us a bale there. So now it's a matter of putting it next to one another. See, the first one's pretty easy. Now it's just a matter of putting it on there nice and harmonious with the first one. Bam, there we go. And now what you can do is you can put this up and you can kind of shift them around a little bit once they're on there. If I remember correctly. And see, it's a little bit crooked. There we go. Now they're nice and together. And if we need to, just go get another bale and fix it even further. I like them to be nice and neat. You don't have to put them on there as nice and neat as I do to make it functional. I like to spend my time on it though. It doesn't require it. Oh, see, look at that. It's trickier than it looks. Now we got this one kind of hanging over the side here. We can actually push that over. Oop, I think I pushed it over a little bit too far. But they can be adjusted. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now we are going to set this on top of here. Same principle, just put some pressure on it and back up. There you go. I think we'll do like a stack of 4, maybe 6 on the first row. And we'll get about 4 rows. It's about 24 bales. Not bad. We might have to take a few trips. There we go. I'll put this one next to it on top here. Sometimes the physics of this thing can be a little tricky. You see, it's grabbing the bale underneath the more I push it over. Uh-oh. Now, they will kind of settle on their own, but I'm going to go ahead and fix that. This is definitely a skills-based activity. Yeah, that looks good. I think we can fit 2 more on top of there without too much disaster. So I think this is where the big one would have come in handy, because I wouldn't have to get right up on the trailer, because it's got a little bit more arm length to get to the other side. There we go. And we could probably push that over a little bit. Let's try not to knock them all over though. There we go. There we go. Oh, dang it. It fell over. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Really? So each one of these bales, I think, is worth about 125 bucks in normal mode, I think. It depends. The market price changes by how many you sell. So there's that. There we go. Now, show you how these straps work. So we can strap this down by using object too heavy. Wait a minute here. Fasten tension belt. So you look at them. Hold on. I guess you got to get really close. So fasten tension belt. Bam. And look at that. It's got, you get a ratchet strap that goes on it. There's the little ratchet strap. It's a rusty little ratchet strap that will actually hold those down while you're moving. So now those are attached to the trailer. They actually become part of the trailer. So as you see here, that's where the ratchet strap would go, and you can take them on and put them off, or put them on and take them off. So there you go. There's 6. I think we can fit 4 stacks of 6. That's 24 bales. It's not bad. It's much quicker with the automatic pickup trailer. But like I said, we've got 23 grand left, and we owe the bank about 90 grand already, so I didn't want to splurge. So we're just gonna have to do this the manual way, but it's okay. I mean, that's why you can put the game into real time and slow it way down so that you can do all this stuff in real time. So you can do things as slowly as you want to, and you're not wasting any time. So I don't want to do this too slow. I want to be entertaining, which I don't know how entertaining this really is. But this is actually one of the funner activities in the game, I think. Picking up these bales and putting them on the trailer, on the bale trailer. It's just because it's just fun. You know, it's definitely a physics problem. There we go. We got our old European electropop going on in the background. Look at that. And that was fast. Alright. I think I'm getting back into the groove of a farming simulator here. It's definitely harder than it looks. Alright, don't get too fast. Don't get too cocky, kid. Alright, we're going to need to come in at a different angle here. Back it on up, back it on up. Put it down. Nice. Perfect. Where's our other bales at? We got 2 people watching me play Farming Simulator. Oh my goodness. Welcome. Welcome to the show. We're picking up these bales manually because I'm too cheap to buy the automatic bale trailer. That, and we owe the bank about 90 grand, and we've got a $100,000 limit on what we can borrow, so we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place right here as far as efficiency goes. We can only afford to be so efficient, and then the bank's like, nope. It's what? It's viewer rush. It's a viewer rush. Yeah, well, we've only got... Oh, I dropped it. We've only got 1 person watching now, so... Every time you mention how many viewers you have, you want to hear how many viewers you got? Alright. So this is basically what it's going to be. It's just going to be, it's going to be putting the long, arduous task of picking up all these hay bales. It's not really arduous. It's fun, actually. Hay bale moving is definitely a game of inches, as they say in football. All right, we got another stack here. So we're gonna go ahead and strap those down. Is there another strap I can use? I don't think so. I think that's good. So we got 12 on there, 12 more, and we'll be ready to take these to Sail Point, which I have no idea where that is on this map. And I think I need to move that over about a foot. So we didn't have room on the back for the rest of for the last stack of bales. Oh no, you gotta be kidding. Hate it when I do that. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Just get it on there. There we go. Flurb, welcome to the chat, by the way. Flurb says there's a sense of accomplishment on a job well done. There is, indeed. Indeed, sir. There is definitely a sense of accomplishment, especially when you learn how to move these bales. It's definitely, like I said, it's a skills-based activity in the game where there's no way to get better at it except by do it and practice it, and it's really difficult at first until you get the controls down, and once you finally get it, it feels really good to do it. Because you understand how hard it is. So we'll see. I'm curious to see how much we're going to make per trailer load of hay bales. This might be one of the least efficient ways of making money that I've found yet in this save game. so far. You know, it's basically selling hay bales is basically a it's an exercise in penny pinching, really. Because I could have had this field plowed already and seeded and possibly even fertilized by the time I got done making the bales, and then started picking them up. And so this is really an exercise in just getting the most out of your harvest that you possibly can. And, you know, waste not, want not type of thing. But you can see we're making a big dent in the amount of bales we've got sitting on our field here. So that's outstanding. And I should have probably straightened this bale up before I picked it up, but that's alright. Bam. Look at that. It didn't get much more perfect than that right there. So we're actually going to straighten this one up before we pick it up. You just hit it with your front tires, back up, and it should be perfectly perpendicular to your tractor after that. That's one of the techniques I've learned picking up hay bales. Is you just straighten it up, and then as long as you hit it semi-center, it's much easier to work with than trying to do what I just did, which is take a crooked bale and try to make it straight, which is much more difficult than just straightening it up before you pick it up. All right, we got our third stack. Now, bam, look at that, part of the trailer now. All right, awesome. Now we get this fourth stack, and then it's off to the market with our trailer. Like I said, you can come up fairly crooked to a hay bale, and as long as you just bump it with your front tires, it straightens it up perfectly perpendicular to your tractor. And all you gotta do is hit it with the forks, pick it up, bam, you got a perfectly straight hay bale. As long as you don't drive too crazy, you'll be fine. And bam, there you go. It's definitely not as easy as it looks. When you first start picking up hay bales in this game, you're going to be like, why is this so difficult? Shouldn't it be easier to pick up a hay bale? But like anything, you know, it's skills based. Just like driving a car for the first time or something. It's just skills based. And it gets easier as you practice. So look at that. We've cleaned up probably the first 10%, maybe even the first, 15% of the field from hay bales. So doing pretty good. All right. Awesome. Maybe we should get 2 of these trailers. I don't know. If I had a second person, we could actually do 2 of these trailers, and they could be taking the trailers as I was loading them up. Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Oh no. I backed out too fast. I didn't have enough downward pressure on it. There we go. Whoop. Alright, put some downward pressure on it. Ugh. Oh well. I'll fix it. There we go. Bam. Smack the bell with your front tires. Put your forks down. Stab it. Pick it up. And run. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Alright, let's see if we can't fix this crookedness issue we have going on over here. Alright. I think that straightened that up. Now we gotta do is straighten the rest of it up. Put some downward pressure on it. That's a lot of downward pressure. Now, if you're going to be picking up, in a small tractor, if you're going to be picking up more than 1 hay bale at a time, because you can do that. I'll show you how to do that here in a second. You can actually do this a little bit more efficiently. What you do, you take 1 hay bale, and if you've got a long way to go back to your tractor, you can actually put it on top of another hay bale. And I wouldn't recommend this unless you're good at doing this, because if not, you're just going to get frustrated. But put it on top of another hay bale, and then put your forks down and pick them both up at the same time. And you can do that. But if you've got a smaller tractor, it's actually going to try to tip your tractor, and you're going to need to put a weight on the back of your tractor in order to keep your tractor from trying to tip over frontwards, because that's a lot of weight on the front end of your tractor, and there's a lot of leverage. I mean, look how much leverage that is. That's like putting a 500-pound weight at the front, like 4 feet in front of your tractor in the air, and then expecting the back wheels to stay on the ground. So it's best if you can buy a weight to put on the back of your tractor, and uh-oh, not enough downward pressure. And it will kind of combat that. And you see, though, that this method is a tad bit more tricky. But you don't have to make as many trips, which is nice. Alright, what are we doing here? Oh, we got some dubstep farming going on here. Downward pressure, pull it out. Oh. Alright. This is going to look a little bit wonky if I don't fix this. Alright, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There you go. Just going to go ahead and bump this side of the bale and try to push it back in there. Come on. Oh. Alright, easy, easy, easy. Uh-oh. Alright, the physics is getting wonky. I'm just going to leave it alone. strap it down, and bam, there we go. We got a trailer full. Flurb, waiting for the base and that bale to drop. Waiting for the base and the bale to drop. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it alone. Alright, now we need to figure out where we're going to take this. I have no idea where this stuff goes. Alright, so we've got it attached. And now we got to figure out where this stuff goes. So let's look at our map here. Valley Grain, Spinnery, Small Farm. Get a BGA bunker. I have no idea what that is. Old Red Barn. Maybe you take it to the Old Red Barn, I'm guessing. Let's see. Old Red Barn, what do they take? Hay bales. $75 each. I think. Alright, so we're going to the Old Red Barn. We're going to go out here to the road, take a right, and then take a left once we get all the way up north. I try not to tip the trailer. Please don't tip trailer. We'll take a wide turn there. Because the bales are a tad bit wonky. And this trailer is definitely a little squirrely. I'm glad I kept it at 6. I think that will be plenty high. I mean, we could have done 8 per and gotten probably, instead of 24, we could have gotten 36, but that would have been pushing the maneuverability of this trailer. As you can see, it's a very low setting trailer, so that's to keep the center of gravity low, so you can take turns a little bit faster, but this thing is definitely wobbly. Whoa. I can see in the rearview mirror. You can see the rearview mirrors, the bales in the rearview mirror. They just kind of wobble around back there. Like, let's slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. We got traffic here. Ooh, it's starting to tip already. Alright, slow, 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 slow. Last thing we want to do is tip this trailer over. If we tip this trailer over, it's going to be a mess. Alright, so here we got the sheep, cattle, and pig farms. If we get into sheep, cattle, and pig farming, that's where we'll have to go to feed them and house them and all that stuff. And then that's a manure trough, I think. So the farm animals produce 2 types of manure, at least the pigs and the cows do. They produce liquid manure and solid manure, and there's a different spreader for each. Solid manure takes more of a trailer spreader, and liquid manure takes a liquid spreader, and so it's like a big tank that's got a sprayer on the back end, and so you just take that tank across your field, turn the sprayer on, and it sprays liquid manure all over your field. And if you've ever smelled a field that's sprayed with liquid manure, or for that matter even solid manure, you can definitely tell when the farmers have been out fertilizing, so to speak. Alright, well, if I wasn't so close to this place, I would totally pass this dude. But we're almost there. Alright, so here's the big red barn. We're just going to drive into the big red barn, and these bales should disappear off the trailer. Should. We might have to unstrap them. I'm not sure. But we're gonna find out here. Alright. Let's go in here. And yep, there it goes. Money, 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 money. $295 per bale, I believe. So we look back behind us here. Bam, all the bales have disappeared. And so we are unloaded right there. And we made about, what, nine grand, something like that? Off of a trailer load? That's not bad. We're going to cut across this field this time, though. That's not bad. And we probably got 4 or 5 trailers, so we're looking at maybe 30 grand out of this field over here in bales. It's not bad at all. And we might have enough to buy that automatic bale picker upper, the automatic bale trailer that just picks them up and stacks them automatically. That'd be good. That'd be really good. All right, so here we are, back at the field. Field number 3. Park a trailer in the middle somewhere and have at it. And we have got to unstrap this stuff, though. Unfasten belt. Oh, unfasten belt. Unfasten. Unfasten. And unfasten. There we go. So now we're ready again to go ahead and load this back up. Make some more money. Let's go ahead and we'll try the 2-bale method this time and see if it's any quicker. All right. I need to bring in the camera view. Whoops. I totally didn't mean to do that. Hit the brakes. Oh, that's not gonna work. Alright, this is what I wanted to do over here. Alright, so it's very important that you straighten up the bale before you hit it whenever you're doing the double bale technique. Because the last thing you want to do is put the bales on top of one another crooked, because you're going to have to go back and fix them. So, put that bale, you line it up with the other bale. And set it down. Like I said, bale stacking is a game of inches. Alright, there we go. Now that'll save us a little bit of time. We're going to work from the back to the front this time. Awesome. Look at that. That saved us a bunch of time. All right. Let's find out what bale we want. And we're going to straighten up this bale before we put the other bale on top. Bam. There we go. That's how you do that. All I gotta do is pick them up. There we go. And be very gentle. Canman UK, welcome to the chat. He says, hi Iceman, can you use a steering wheel and pedals with the game? Yes, you can. If you have a steering wheel and pedals, I think anyone that you already have will work, but they also sell a special steering wheel and pedals for the game, specifically for Farming Simulator, and but it's rather expensive. It's like $300, I think, for the game. I'm using a controller right now, just because I don't have the money for a $300 steering wheel set. But yes, you can. And you can do everything that I'm doing in first person. It's a much more difficult than the way I'm doing it in first person. So just keep that in mind. I like to do logging in first person. I think that's pretty fun, but I think logging is a little bit easier than moving bales. But yeah, you can do the entire game in first person with the steering wheel if you'd like. But I'm just not that talented, maybe, and I don't have that much money. So there you go. All right. Oh, gentle. Alright, we need to line that up a little bit better than that. Alright, what we got going on here? Alright, there we go. Let's go ahead and straighten up this other side over here. We can. We'll use another hay bale to do it. Because it makes a nice bumper. You just kind of bump stuff with these hay bales and it's better than using the fork sometimes. There we go. It's a little bit more straight, and we can put this on top. There we go. We're definitely getting some work done now. We've already cut out 3 trips back and forth to the bale trailer by stacking the bales up 2 at a time. So pretty happy about that, and they're fairly straight. Fairly, I mean, they're not all the way straight, obviously, but they're fairly straight. Straight enough for me. There we go. All right. And we got it going on now. Where's my trailer? There it is. I'll tip it back just a little so it doesn't come off the forks. Whoop. Camera angle is definitely like a thing on here. Like camera angle is key to doing this properly. There we go. All right. Look at that. Perfecto. Fairly happy with my hay baling skills. They haven't diminished a whole lot since last time I played the game. Pretty happy about that. Ah. It moved. I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and move it again. There we go. I like the music in this game. You know, for knockoff music, it's actually not bad. And we're going to need to straighten that up a little bit more. Alright, there we go, nice and gentle. You don't wanna drop the bales. Dropping bales is annoying. Downward pressure, pull it out, bam, there we go. Nice. I didn't even have to straighten that one up. Let's go ahead and finish off this other stack back here. Very good. Nice, nice, nice. Whew. I mean, it's not exactly as hard as landing on an aircraft carrier, but close. It's close. As you can tell, I'm not talking as much as I usually do when I'm farming, because you really got to concentrate on this whenever you're doing it. Or else you're going to end up wasting a bunch of time because you're going to mess up. It's a very delicate process of moving around 500-pound bales with a probably a 5,000-pound tractor. Very good, very good, very good. Super happy with the way this is going so far. Awesome. Good, good, good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's see if I can bump this bale over. Boop. There we go. Now straighten her up. All right. I wish I had another tractor. I think that would be my next purchase is going to be another tractor, because while I'm doing this other field, I can put somebody on plowing this field, so I can do two things at once on my farm. That's going to be the key to making this farm more efficient, is being able to multitask. Multitasking is definitely a thing in this game. You need to be able to multitask very well. And I need to start strapping these things down so I don't fall over. There we go. All right. One more stack, and we'll be good to go. Let's see how the prices are. It's still at $75 for. I'm guessing that's per liter. I'm not sure. Griswolf. Uh-oh. I am going to take this invitation to play with Griswolf. What's up? Hey. How's it going, man? Good. Haven't talked to you in a long time.
I know it. It's been forever. Yeah, I've been watching some of your recent streams. At least the last one, I watched most of it there.
My farming simulator ones?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been a while since I've seen you stream anything, actually.
Yeah, I've been kind of out of the loop, man. I got kind of down and out whenever the update for No Man's Sky came out.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like it. So I just kind of was like, meh. I don't know. I just took a break. Okay. And now I'm getting back to my roots.
Yeah, I noticed that. I knew that you were doing this before. It's kind of an easy-going game, you know.
It is. It's very peaceful.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching you. I mean, it was fun.
It's a very peaceful game. Yeah,
the last one. Yeah, and now I spent the last a while just trying to get on. I haven't even started up my PS4 in a while. Started that thing up, and it's like doing all this weird update stuff, and I've been like, come on, I gotta get online. I gotta talk with my bud, man. So okay, so you're here. Everybody, I'd like to introduce you to Griswolf, aka Aaron Snow or Snowman Sky. He's got a YouTube channel on YouTube. I met Aaron while we were doing No Man's Sky videos, and he's co-hosted the channel quite a few times. And he's a preferred guest on the channel. I love having him on the channel. He's a very interesting guy, very smart guy, and he's got a background in engineering, and he does programming and theater for hobbies, which is an odd combination, but it makes him an interesting guy. Is that basically a consensus of how I know you? Yeah, what's that last thing you said?
Cedar? What?
Theater. Theater. As in cinema, not really cinema, but theater.
Oh, theater.
Yeah, theater.
You said it so fast, I'm like, okay, I do not know that word. Yeah, yes. So it's been a while. I haven't been in the loop either so much because of the theater stuff, like you said. I finally took a break from that. You know,
okay.
I said I need to live because it takes so much time out of your schedule.
Right.
You know, that because they require you to be there for you know, the afternoons, most of your afternoons, and you're spending all your time trying to memorize lines, and
right.
It just takes all your free time away.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it's kind of it's a lifestyle, right?
Yeah, I guess it is, and I don't really consider myself a theater person. But there's reasons why I'm down there. You know, there's a few different things that, you know, certain people that I need to talk to and stuff like that. And
sure.
It's good for me. You know, it's just a mental health thing, if you will.
Sure.
It helps get me out of my box, my shell.
Mm-hmm.
But as for you, what is it about No Man's Sky that you didn't? Because there's a couple of things that bothered me, but I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I had a really hard time trying to figure it out. Number one was the first thing that really kind of irked me was that the story mode glitched out for me. So they had, when it first came out, the story mode was really bugging it, and it seemed like things that if you weren't lazy would have been caught in development. You know, it's just like really simple things like, well, if I save here, it's going to screw up the story or something like that, you know. It's things that shouldn't have been problems were problems. And it seems like, you know, I know they didn't rush the development of it, you know. And then on top of that, their unwillingness to talk to their community and keep them informed about what's going on. I think really it all stems from them being a mobile game developer, and mobile game developers don't necessarily have to communicate with their fan base because it's a mobile game, and people don't really expect mobile game developers to do that, you know. Whereas because a lot of mobile game developers are free to play, or if you have to buy the game at all, it's usually $5 or under. But with a $60 title, people expect more out of your community management. Like if I go anywhere, like if I go to Walmart and buy something for $60, you better have a phone number on the back of that product where I can call customer support. You know, or at least have a company behind it that is going to engage with the community around that product, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think that's an unfair expectation. And they feel like it's something that they don't have to do. So we're in disagreement on that. I think that's really kind of what irks me. But now, do I think No Man's Sky is a bad game? Not at all. Played it for 1,000 hours. After the last update, I was just disappointed and said, you know what, I'll go play something else.
Yeah, well, there's a lifespan to most a person's interest. It takes a lot to keep somebody coming back for anything, for very long. But No Man's Sky, it's got a lot of great qualities to it. I just haven't been able to play much, and also I have things in life that I actually prefer doing from time to time. Playing games is about fun, and if you get bored or if you have something else to do, you tend to do that over, one thing over another. And so I just sort of put it aside for a little while and watch and keep an eye out on things to see how everything's going. But I always figured that No Man's Sky was just built around a very special type of nerd.
Right.
And that type of nerd is the nerd that fails to communicate.
Sure. Well, yeah.
That
that's
was my
true.
theory. That was my theory.
That is.
I don't know.
That is very true, actually, though.
Well, some people are so intellectually locked away that they just don't communicate. It's
Yeah.
the way some people are, especially programmers.
Yeah, and I think they're really they're scared. They're scared of the fan base because the fan base is very passionate.
I can't blame them.
And that's a lot of developers get that way. But that doesn't detract from your responsibility, though. You still have responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's why you hire a community manager that's not afraid of the community, and you don't hide your head in the sand. You just pay somebody else to speak for you, And that's I think that would be an acceptable compromise, but I don't think they even want to do that. So.
Well, I think of
Zach Ulrich says hi. Like hi, Zach.
Oh, hi. Hello, Zach. I think he said hi a while back. We just sort of ignored him.
Yeah, well, we were talking.
Not intentionally. Yeah.
No, we were talking, and I looked down at the chat. I was like, oops. So, hi from a while back, Zach.
Mojang, with Minecraft and stuff, they hired Lydia pretty early on, a woman and allowed her to do a lot of the PR stuff and let her make up her mind, because the programmers, they realized that they were only good at programming and they weren't good at talking and communicating or managing some large-scale, thing that was going on, the phenomenon called Minecraft.
Right.
And so they left it with somebody who was very personable. And that was a very good call. Now, eventually, Notch himself, the creator of Minecraft, the nerd of nerds, he eventually sort of got tired of dealing with it and sold it to Microsoft. I mean,
after he said, "I'll never sell to Microsoft, not even for $1 billion." So what did Microsoft do?
Yeah.
They paid him $2.4 billion, and he said, "All right."
Well,
because no one thought Microsoft would buy it for $1 billion. So they said, "Oh, we see your $1 billion and raise you $1 billion."
Right. But in actuality, the story that I know of, he just got tired of things. He got tired of dealing with.
Oh, well, that's what he said after he took the money.
And then, they said that he went to Microsoft, that they didn't offer him. He actually went to them because he had enough. He was ready to end it all, to quit. And he said, I think originally, he wasn't planning for a game to blossom like this. He was trying to make a small game for his own enjoyment. I mean, the dude worked on it in the basement, literally, in a literal way.
Right.
He worked on it in a little quiet room. He eventually took on a couple of people to help him, but it just exploded with popularity, and it got away from it. He wasn't ready for that. He was a programmer,
sure,
not somebody wanting to stand on an empire and rule the world, if you will, of gaming and stuff. And in a way, that's one of the biggest, most prolific games out there. And I think of this like with No Man's Sky in a way, but because Minecraft has been going on what 10 years now or so.
Oh, easily, yeah,
close to it. Yeah, and it you're talking about a lifespan. I mean, people's children.
Sure, and they didn't even have, most game developers need like a 10-year plan for a game in order to make it 10 years. They didn't even have I don't even think they had like a 1-year plan for that game, let alone a 10-year. It just, like you said, it took on a life of its own, and people just don't want to let it go, And right. I think now, I think that Minecraft is really ready for the next Minecraft 2, but they don't want to let it go. That's my feeling on Minecraft is okay, this game's ready for a little bit of innovation now. Quit adding to the game and make the second iteration of the game. My own opinion. I love Minecraft, dude. It's like how many. You know, it's no longer a new concept.
Well, you get burnt out after a while too. I mean, you get tired of staring at blocks. You get tired of things after a while. You know, I mean, you sink, like with No Man's Sky, you sink so many hours in there, and finally, you know, all the newness wears away. There is no more mystery. It just becomes completely repetitive.
Right.
And only the most devoted individuals will stay around for a while. But you know, I mean, it's something else. It's a phenomenon nonetheless. I mean, I've never seen a game take on a form like that outside of Minecraft. And I was hoping that perhaps No Man's Sky was going to get some of that off, you know, that feed sort of off that community a little bit.
Right.
If they stayed on the ball a little bit more, if they were a little bit more PR friendly, you know, stuff like that.
Sure.
And presented updates more frequently, if at all possible. I mean, but you know, it's a different sort of game. There's probably more work involved with some of that stuff. For all I know. I mean, Minecraft is simpler in some ways. I mean, people are modding Minecraft all the time. I mean, it can't be insanely difficult. But I'm thinking that No Man's Sky perhaps presents a different challenge altogether.
Oh man, we got all kinds of stuff going on in the chat here. Cantor the Cantor already. Hello, welcome to the chat. Zombie Slay 713, welcome to the chat. I really dislike No Man's Sky 1.3, but a couple of days ago I found the best planet ever, and I have played for over 800 hours. Cantor also says the best planet I've ever found.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's good, man.
Nice.
Yeah, I think me and Aaron have played. I mean, combined, we've probably played what 1,500 hours at least. I'd say.
Oh yeah, well. We lived there for a while.
Yeah, you know, for like a whole year, world. That's all we played, you know. And, yeah, I'm back to the whole farming simulator thing. They've added a bunch of stuff to Farming Simulator. And this is a game with a very active modding community, and it's a developer that really tries to facilitate that. You know,
yeah, that's wonderful too. That's really wonderful when people are that open to the community. So like for instance, like you said, farming community. I mean, I've heard of farming community for a long time. It keeps working, developing. I'm glad that they keep adding stuff because, you know, the initial concept of it is kind of, you know, sounds boring.
Right.
Outright, you know, it's like, oh, you're going to farm. I mean, you're like, well, whoop-de-doo. But it has an appeal to it.
Well, you're also from farm country, though. You know.
Yeah.
It's like, why would I want to do that? You know. Whereas, you know, I'd say a good 50% of the population lives in cities. So, and they don't ever get exposed to this stuff. So it's a weird byproduct of the times that we live in, I think. Yeah. Where it's a novelty. Farming is a novelty now, whereas, you know, back in the day it was just survival.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, trucking simulator.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you would think, why?
Right.
Why? But
and there's a bunch of jokes in there.
I can see it. You know?
Believe me, I just don't want to say them.
Oh man.
And then you've got games like Destiny, which I played Destiny 2 on occasion, but Destiny 2 it really, once you get past the story, the multiplayer kind of stinks. As far as like the competitive multiplayer, it just turns into like who can pull the trigger first simulator, you know. It's whoever shoots first wins, basically. And it. That kind of that's boring. The player basis. Don't want to. I almost knocked my bales down on my trailer. The player base on that in the last 3 or 4 weeks has really dropped off, and that's made the news recently for Destiny. And I can see why. I mean, there's not after you beat the story mode, there's not a whole lot of content left. Whereas this game doesn't even have a story mode. There's no story to this game. The story is what you make yourself. You know.
Yeah.
You have to have animation. Yeah.
Right.
And so you have to kind of have an imagination. That's kind of what I liked about No Man's Sky. I think that the story mode really kind of hurt the game, because if you put in a story mode and it's in a game like No Man's Sky, if the story isn't procedural, so I think that's where they went wrong. The story itself should have been procedural. And I think that would have been well within the spirit of what No Man's Sky was meant to be. But seeing as how the story mode just kind of stunk, I don't know. It opened up new gameplay mechanics, but the story, I really just didn't get into the story. I didn't connect with it at all. So.
Yeah, I haven't played the story mode yet. I confess this before I talk. You know, I haven't done it yet. Now, but I've seen, you know, there's really talented writers out there. I mean, coming from somebody who hasn't played the story mode yet, why in the world would they not employ those particular writers? I mean, there are some people out there with imaginations that'll throw you for a loop especially you take a situation like No Man's Sky. I mean, that just presents the perfect platform, you would think. So, I mean, and plus, if you got enough writers, you could really branch out a story. You don't even have to have the same branch.
Travis Nelson,
right? You can have
welcome.
Multiple branches.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Travis Nelson, welcome to the chat. With the price of land, even those of us in rural America wouldn't even have a chance to farm. Yeah, I agree. Cantor with Cancer says, I like No Man's Sky when there wasn't necessarily a story. They could have made it more of a mystery instead. Yeah, I think so. I think that's what
stories can present mysteries. Stories can add and make the mystery more enveloping. You know?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, stories can do a lot of things, and there's a powerful writer can really take a person's imagination and cause it to explode. You know, just sort of like breadcrumb you along into some sort of. That's kind of like the Lost series.
No, I was dude, you read my mind. I was just fitting to say
Lost,
that.
Right.
Yeah, just like Lost. That's probably one of the that's one of the best examples of good writing causing a mystery. And you know, I looked so much into that series. That was one of my favorite series for a while because it kind of mirrored Jules Verne's stories a lot of times. There was a couple of stories that Jules Verne wrote that were almost identical to the Lost series in less of a modern way, you know. I mean, of course, Jules Verne in Jules Verne's time there was no such thing as a jet, so that's different.
Yeah.
But in his story, it was a shipwreck, you know. But it's the same story, and so I think that they got some of that from Jules Verne. And Jules Verne, of course, is a classic writer, sci-fi writer, and a mystery writer at that. And I think if they would have went with more of a Jules Verne style of writing instead of or even I don't know, I guess Isaac Asimov maybe, but Jules Verne I think definitely would have fit No Man's Sky better than Isaac Asimov. That's just my own opinion.
Yeah,
because they tried that. I don't know, man. It just
little AI stuff going on. You know, again, there are very good writers for AI. There's plenty of novels and books and novellas that deal with AI as a subject, and there's lots of ways you can take that as well. I mean, that's what I do. I do a lot of AI stuff. I mean, that's what I do. You know, the programming usually involves a chat bot or something along that line, and I spent several years with AI. So when I noticed they were combining AI with No Man's Sky, I mean, I like to flip. I mean, like,
sure.
Yeah. But you know, you have to find somebody out there in the community that, again, that's where you got to pull some of your resources. There are people who are so talented. You know, find somebody out there who knows this world, who knows how to combine AI and proper writing.
right.
For a No Man's Sky feel. I mean, you can do it. I mean, I know you can do it. I've just seen there's just people who do that all the time. They know the world of AI. They know the ethics involved, and there's all kinds of things that involved
Sure, yeah.
To create tension in the story. But yeah, I mean, I'm still there's still a future, surely.
So I'm guessing the reason why you got a hold of me today is because you've got some very good news for me.
No, well, okay. I'm a little pumped up for tonight, though.
What's tonight?
I mean, tonight, Assassin's Creed.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
all right.
A little pumped up, and plus, you come at, my phone has notifications when you're online.
Okay, all right.
So, when I saw you're online, it was like at the perfect time. I was like getting off work,
okay.
and I saw your deal, and I thinking, yeah, I got to get home. I got to catch you.
I thought maybe, just maybe, hoping beyond hope, you were gonna get Farming Simulator. We could play it together.
I don't mind the idea. I mean, how much is it? It's off Steam?
I have no idea. I'm playing it on PlayStation, but you can get a used copy for like $20, I think.
Okay, I could do that.
And that would be awesome. I would love to play Farming Simulator with you.
It works on PS4. I've never done that like that.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a PS4
I usually
title.
don't do multiplayer stuff. Yeah, okay. I usually don't do multiplayer stuff, and usually, I noticed that.
I just dropped a hay
that a
bale.
lot of these games. Oh no.
Anyway.
It's all my fault.
No, it's not. It's totally my fault. If anybody was watching, they're gonna know it was totally my fault. I'm having a very hard time with this hay bale.
Oh man, I'm trying to watch, but I'm watching my internet usage too. Oh yeah,
I gotcha.
see. Well, I mean, I don't have limited. It's just that somebody's in there watching Netflix.
Gotcha. I gotcha.
And
but
I don't want to cut us. Yeah.
There's a gigantic amount of mods for this game. I mean, there's just a ton of them.
For PS4?
Yes, and they're all free. And what they do is they take the mods from the PC community and they transfer them over to the PS4 and make them free. And so all you have to do is press. It's like a one-button download, and all you do is you choose the mods that you want to start the game with, and bam, they're in there. That's it. It's super simple. There's no cut and paste here and put this in a special file and all that stuff like they have to do for PC. They make it so easy for PS4. It's ridiculous. I mean, I bet the PC community is like, man, I wish it was that easy to mod my PC version of this game.
Yeah. Okay. I knew that they were starting to incorporate mods a lot more. It's kind of like with, I think they were doing that with Skyrim too, I believe. But
I think so. Yeah, if you've got Skyrim on PS4, yeah, I think that you can actually have mods on there. Maybe, I don't know. Wait a minute. If I'm not mistaken, I think there was some news about that where they weren't going to allow mods on PS4 for Skyrim. I'm not sure because they didn't want to deal with having to transfer, different file formats and stuff like that. Whereas this developer seems to have done it, without any sweat. They make it look so easy. It's like, why isn't every game developer doing this?
Well, you have to set your code up just right. The coding has to be just right for to allow a mod to control all the specific data that you need to control.
Sure.
I mean, you can have code that just is totally terrible for plugins. Like, it just everything has to be united together. Everything has to have a focal point so a mod can attach itself to that data.
Right.
Otherwise, it's like some games you have to, in order to do anything, you have to completely rebuild the game. And so you have to have that in your mind when you're initially writing the game, that you are going to make this game so you can mod it. And it takes longer to develop the game usually when you do something like that.
Sure.
But of course, the the end result is that you got all this modding community that will spring up afterwards. So I think it's just worth it when people do that. Obviously, it helps sell your game, but yeah. So that's really the problem. Is when some people, you have a talented programmer.
This
says, I want.
This is what it looks like when you mess up hay baling in Farming Simulator 2017. I've been making it look so easy, and now it's just.
Well, while I'm talking with you, I'm taking your mind up. Right?
Yeah.
I'm taking your attention.
That's fine. It's much more entertaining this way. Much more entertaining than me just not talking. So
you did.
I've got to pee like really bad, dude. Like so bad, and you showed up at the exact right time, cause dude, I've got to go to the bathroom so bad. Like I sat down and was like, oh crud! I started the stream, now I got to pee, and I've had to pee for like an hour.
Well, just let it go,
Just all right. Nobody touch my streaming bottle. Just don't even get off the microphone. Just be like, all right, here I go.
Just let it. Just feel
that
warmth.
Hun, we're gonna need a new couch. That's so disgusting. I can't believe you did that on our couch. I can hear it now. All right, let me get out here and tie these hay bales down, and then I'll do what I got to do.
All right.
Oh my goodness, you're so funny, dude. I love it when you come on the show. Yeah, right. You can. Yeah. I love it when you come on the show because it always gives me somebody good to talk to. All right, I'm going to be back here in about 30. Oh my goodness, I've been neglecting the chat. Canther the Canther says, I don't like when the main character's race is an alien. I would have preferred a human character or have it be a mystery. When and if the update comes out, are you going to try it? Hopefully it will be a variation update because they are hiring artists for No Man's Sky. They only allow mods with no new assets. Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to try the new update when it comes out. I'll check it out. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. If I do, I do. That's it. I've got an open mind to it. But anyway, I really got to go. I'll be right back.
Hey. Well, I hope he makes it. I should have had water playing in the background. Just make it real awkward. Well, now I have to stare at this tractor. Let's see. Is anybody hyped at all or willing to play Assassin's Creed? Because Assassin's Creed Origins coming out this afternoon. Midnight release. Yeah, I'm all stoked about it. It's pretty. I don't know. A lot of people perhaps don't like it, but for some reason I got involved playing that game by watching my nephew play the early ones. This was like several iterations into it. It's been like several Assassin's Creed. Some people don't like it, but I just got into the story. Yeah, it is costly. But, I mean, food or, for a game, truth. There's a lot of games. It's like, why does everything have to be $60, $65 anyway?
All right, I'm back.
It doesn't always have to be like that.
Canther the Canther. You've been talking to Canther for a little bit, haven't you? All right.
Yeah, we're buds now.
Right. Okay, that's good. You make friends quick. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
You said we're buds now. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing? Have you just been doing theater? Is that all you've been doing?
Oh, well, that took a lot of time because the last play that I did, I actually had to memorize quite a few lines, and I'm really not that good at doing that, and so it took up a lot of time. Just like going over and over and over. I also I got away from that, and I started working up I have a little project. I have several projects. I'm a project person.
You're project
I like
person.
making things.
Sure.
Yes. And so I have, besides games, I do like to actually get out there and do other things. You know, I like to build stuff. My dad, he's like an inventor, if you will. He's always making stuff. It just, so I got that from my dad.
Sure.
So you know, there's an instrument, a musical instrument called the harpeggi.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and it's like a guitar turned sideways, if you will, and you play it. You know how with a guitar you can use taps, like you tap on the strings and stuff.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Well,
You get
that tink, 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 that type of sound.
Yeah, sort of.
Like
when
old
you tap
disco.
it, yeah. Well, no, not quite. Well, you know, you don't have to. Okay, with a guitar, you usually your left hand is what does the chording, and your right hand has a pick in the.
Right.
You have a pick in your fingers, right?
Sure.
Well, with tapping, that's when you don't use a pick. You don't try to pluck the strings, but you run your fingers on the neck and you tap the string, and it can sound awesome, just like if you use the pick. You know, it just everything has to be just right, and a lot of professionals do that, and it looks really fancy. It looks cool.
Right.
Well, a harpeggi uses that type of technique, so it's like you take a board, if you will. It's usually about a harpeggi is about a foot wide or so, and about 2.5 foot long, and you play it like a piano. So it's like has strings like a guitar, but you tap it with your fingers like a piano.
Right.
And you can look it up on YouTube real easy, and they got all sorts of people playing it. I think Stevie Wonder he plays one. He likes it and stuff. But it looks like Canthro has to go.
Oh, okay. Well, see you later, Canthro.
Yeah. Had fun.
Thanks for coming.
See you later.
I appreciate you, bud.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. So yeah, the harpeggi. So you've taken up the harpeggi?
Yeah,
Is that what you've done?
Well, I've been building one.
Oh, you're building one?
Yeah, I'm making one
See,
from scratch.
leave it to Aaron to be the guy who doesn't say, you know what, I'm going to learn how to play the harpeggi. No, he's going to learn how to build a harpeggi.
You know, I prefer to build one than play one. There's a lot of things I like to just rather build it. You know, to me, it's I don't know.
So what are you gonna do after you build this harpeggi? What are you gonna do with it? Are you gonna sell it? Can you keep it? Like display it? Are you gonna put a frame on it and put it on a stand or something and put it in your house? Like, hey, I built that harpeggi right there. Can you play it? Nope.
Well, it looks cool. I'll send you a picture sometime.
Okay.
Or whatever. You know, of what's it's almost finished. It's pretty close. That's what I would be working on right now if it wasn't for the stream. You know, I had priorities. If the stream comes first, then I'll go work on my toys.
Okay.
But so I took a break from it for a while because, like with anything, I have to take breaks. I just can't just focus on one thing for too terrible long. And so I recently started up building on it again, and I've been doing all kinds of fancy stuff with it, and it's looking great. I just right now I have some bolts in my pocket that I was going to actually utilize today
for your harpeggi.
Yeah, for the harpeggi.
I just like saying harpeggi. I really like saying it because I just learned that word, so now I've got to say it like 7 times in order to remember it. Because I'm going to talk about this later. Like when we're off the stream, I'm going to be like, dude, I know a guy who's building a harpeggi.
H-A-P. See, harp. H-A-R-P-E-J-J-I. I think that's what it is.
J-J-I? See, I would have never guessed that at all.
Right. It looks good. It looks good when you actually write it, you know, when you spell it. And like I said, it's on YouTube. There's all kinds of examples, people playing some of that stuff. It's really cool instrument. But of course, you buy one new for about $5,000. You're gonna buy a nice one.
Sure.
And I'm building that for a reason. It's a fraction of the cost. I said I can do this. I can figure this out.
Okay.
Anyway, so I got that project. I work on Cherry Moment. Again, I had to take breaks on some of this stuff. That's a difficult It's doing great. I've got 99% of the code complete, and it's all there. It's just that adding content is difficult for me to do. See, that's the thing about the difference between programmers and PR people.
Here's something I didn't know.
You're
Here's
either
something
one or the other.
I just learned something about Alan Turing that I never knew, and I learned it last night. I was listening to Stefan Molyneux. If you guys don't know who Stefan Molyneux is, if you're interested in philosophy at all, Stefan Molyneux is like this, like postmodern Aristotle. Anyway, so one of the things you probably wouldn't know about me unless I told you is I'm really interested in philosophy. Anyway, so Stefan Molyneux was talking to somebody else about postmodernism last night on YouTube, on his YouTube channel, and something they said about Alan Turing was that he was actually a victim of at the time, the modern scientific community, as far as like the psychiatry portion of the modern scientific community. Back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, they were a big fan of eugenics, and they would non-compulsory, like, what do you call it? Like when you neuter somebody?
Sterilize
people,
sterilize
right?
People.
Alan Turing was non-compulsory sterilized because he was homosexual, and they considered being homosexual they considered it being like a mental disorder. And so if you had a mental disorder, they would literally sterilize you without your consent, because if you had a mental disorder, you had no right to consent, and so they would just sterilize people and then let them loose. Like, okay, well, you can't reproduce, so you're not going to be a problem anymore, because they believed that a lot of it was passed down through genetics. And so Alan Turing, one of the fathers of modern AI, was a victim of this, like, sick philosophy that modern science had, which is odd.
A lot of young girls.
Yeah, they did it to a lot of young girls too. But I found that like really interesting that we still use Alan Turing's stuff today, and we have totally abandoned eugenics.
Yeah.
You know,
sort of.
Sort of.
There's still aspects of it, like I think, well, I can't think of the name of it, but you know where they, I can't believe my mind is not working here, but you know where they take babies and they abort them and stuff like that.
Sure.
What do you call that?
Abortions.
Abortions. I tell you, my brain just shut down for there. But abortions, the whole setup there is still a remnant of some of that. Right. I think there's still portions of that in there with the way they have it set up right now.
But that's insane. I never knew that. You know, usually, I'm totally ignorant to how famous Alan Turing was in his own time. I know now they have the Turing test. You know, where AIs, people within the computer science community, will do the Turing test. They'll put their AIs through the Turing test to see how human-like the AIs are, and it's a huge deal every year. And
they have a $5,000 or more than that. I forget. There is a contest. The Loebner Prize is still given out. It's considered. Some people think that's just a big joke, but it's done in the tradition of the Turing test, and it's basically a Turing test, and it's for a large sum of money will be awarded to somebody truly wins over on that Turing test. So there's actually a lot of money involved. So every year people try to win the Loebner. I mean, I think it's called Loebner. Yeah, the Loebner test, or the Loebner contest. Loebner Prize. I'll get it eventually. So, yeah, it's it's happening. I mean, they still after, even though it's considered a pipe dream, or it's considered
almost
impossible to do.
Right.
Yeah, right. And I agree. It's just there's too many things involved. I mean, it's so complex. It's ridiculous. There's people right now that spend all their time just trying to write down the English language in order to get a chatbot to be able to understand human communication.
Well,
the logic.
I was watching. Last night. I was watching I was watching a video on how they're programming AI with like neural networks and logic and things like that.
Yeah.
And there's a guy that's working on some AI that uses like, say for instance, you wanted your AI to draw a realistic picture of a cat. Well, what you do is you give it like this algorithm that recognizes, you feed it like 1,000 like real cat photos to give it like a basis of what it's looking for in a real cat, right?
Yeah.
And you design one program to look to see if something's a real cat or not, and then you design another program to draw pictures of cats based on the cats that it's seen. And then what you do is you have one program basically communicate with the other program. You've got one program that puts parts and pieces of these cats together to create a picture of a cat. Then you've got the other program to look to see if it's a real cat or not. And if one program can fool the other program, then you know you've got a fairly reasonable picture of a cat, you know, and it's all done through AI. However, what it will do is each AI in its own right gets better at what it does. So the program that looks for cats gets better at looking for cats to see, you know, if it's a real cat or not a real cat. It can. Uh-oh. You got me on the.
I changed to a different setting here.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
So and then the cat drawing AI gets better because the cat looking AI gets better, and so they make each other better at the same time.
Feedback.
Yeah, and so it's like it's a feedback loop that is just for drawing cats.
Well, you got to have feedback for learning.
Right.
It's for artificial intelligence stuff or neural networks. And like I said, I learned those systems myself. I mean, there's different types of neural networks. There's different types of systems that involve the learning like that. And I think, you know, a human being, the human mind is a combination of those learning systems or neural network systems and pre-programmed stuff. I mean, we got a lot of things that are in our minds that are programmed ahead of time. There's plenty of things that even when we were born, it was already written there. And so it's a combination, a very complicated combination of neural network learning systems and just simple programming.
Right.
It's already, you know, it's kind of like when you a baby goes to suck his mother's breast or whatever, you know, for milk. I mean, that's integrated.
Yeah, that's imprinted. Yeah.
Right. It's
just hardwired in there.
It's written in the code. And if it wasn't there, the baby wouldn't be doing that.
Right.
And there's lots of things that it's already there.
Sure.
You know, so it's an incredible thing. Artificial intelligence and all that stuff. It's so complex. It's that's why so many people can't get it fully. It's just if there's somebody out there who knows it and has actually done it fully, they're not saying anything.
So there's one AI problem. There's one AI problem that has not been solved yet. That I think that if you solved it, it'd make you freaking famous. It's called the off button problem. Have you ever heard of that?
I'm not sure. Explain it.
All right. So basically, what it is any general AI that you would want to be sufficiently intelligent enough to work, you would want to also have an off button, right? So if it starts doing something that you don't want it to do, that you didn't plan for, you could just press the off button, and and turn it off, right? So that you could then like reprogram it, stop it from what it's doing, reprogram it, turn it back on, and see what happened next, right? It's the same as compiling software, right? But compiling regular software, it's got that off button. All you got to do is press stop, and it stops. It stops running the software. Whereas with AI, it's not exactly that simple. You would think it'd be that simple. It seems like a simple problem. But what happens is you have to tell the AI that there's an off button. And once you tell the AI that there is an off button, you have to set a value for that off button, right? So if you set the value to like 0 reward for pressing the off button, then it will act like there's not an off button, which is a problem. But if you set it to the same reward as whatever you designed the AI to do, instead of doing what it's designed to do, it'll just press its own off button because it's got the same reward as doing what it's designed to do, except you don't have to put as much work into it. So it's actually quicker to get the reward by pressing the off button. So you've basically designed an AI that will just instantly kill itself every time you turn it on. And so it's this paradoxical problem that they haven't figured out yet for general AI.
Well, you have to you have to have another program that resists that deal, because this is actually a real life situation. This is something that humans deal with. And sometimes it's easier to kill yourself than to continue on under this painful situation.
Sure.
Right. Or it's easier to kill somebody else than to deal with their junk, to deal with their idiocy.
Right.
And so there has to be an incentive, which internally, like for instance, humans have a desire to live.
Sure.
There's a desire to live, which is a subsystem, a major subsystem within yourself that says, no, I refuse to do this, and it resists the idea of killing yourself. It resists the idea of killing other people. So it's like, okay, it would be easier to flip the off switch, but I have something in me telling me perhaps I shouldn't.
Right.
And instead of saying, well, there's a reward, I don't know the reward, but at least I'm, it's like, well, I'm not dead yet, and that's a good thing. That shouldn't be,
right.
What I'm saying? There's a internal a pulling or a direction that pulls you away from that switch, even though we ourselves have that switch.
Sure.
If you will. It's just,
Well, it's odd that we've gotten to the point where we're actually having to program, where our AI programming is getting good enough to the point where we have to convince it not to kill itself. You know what I mean? Like, that's just crazy. Like, all right,
it's
well,
just another subsystem, though.
True, but the fact that we haven't been able to like completely figure it out, because here's another thing that happens. Like, let's say you let the AI know that there is a stop button, right? And so you make it to where it cannot press its own stop button. Like, there's a physical stop button on whatever the AI is controlling, and it knows that you can press it, but it can't press its own off button, right? It may do something. Yeah. It may do something to if the reward is the same as whatever it's designed to do, but it knows it's easier to press the off button than do what it's designed to do to get that same reward. Then it may do something to manipulate you into pressing the off button, like suicide by cop almost. So what it'll do is like, as soon as you turn it on, it will try to intimidate you by doing something crazy so that you will have to push the off button. And so that's definitely a problem, because you don't want an AI that is constantly trying to intimidate you. You know what I mean?
Well, with humans, there's a point where a human will just try to pretend. I mean, you're like, okay. Humans have a way of deluding themselves. Like, okay, maybe it's a little off subject there, but they kind of want to delude themselves a little bit. Like, okay, I want to die or whatever, but I don't want to die. So I'm just not going to tell myself that doing this will kill me. So I'm going to deliberately agitate you, and I know there's a possibility that you're going to do the job. You're going to press the button, but I'm going to pretend like I'm not doing it.
Sure. Yeah. Right.
So, and this that way you can try to satisfy both accounts. It's like, yeah, I don't want to die, but I do, and I'm going to fool myself into thinking that I'm satisfying both urges. I don't know. Whatever. We're getting awful deep for a farming simulator.
Yeah, we are getting awful deep for farm. Well, here's the interesting part is that there's AI in the farming simulator. It's not necessarily general AI. It can't play the game itself, right? But it's general AI in a specific way, because the AI in this
Pathfinder.
Right. The AI in this game can actually do farming work for you. Like, you can hire hands to do specific jobs for you, and it really helps. Like this right here is a very complicated task that I'm doing. It's a very skills-based task, and AI would probably kind of get lost doing this right here. However, like, plowing a field is very straightforward and very repetitive, and a lot of the motions are the same. So I could actually hire somebody, if I had another tractor, to plow a field while I was doing something on another field. So you can be doing two things at once. Like, you can just hire people to do the easy stuff, basically.
Yeah.
While you go around and do
the
complicated stuff.
Well, tractors in general, because some of the fields are so large that they let the GPS control the tractor.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
You might be in it.
That's a real, exactly. That's another real life application of AI.
Right. So you're just sort of like perhaps sitting there and making sure nothing major goes wrong, because it is a few $1 million piece of equipment that you got there.
Movie Interstellar. I'm sure you have.
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, at the beginning of that movie, Matthew McConaughey has got a farm, and he's running like 20 combines all at the same time, and and they're all GPS. They're all running on some sort of GPS AI, and that's not too far in the near future. There's a lot of mega farms right now that do the same exact thing. Oddly enough,
there's problems that can occur. I mean, you need somebody watching this stuff. You need somebody sitting back and keeping an eye on everything, just in case something breaks and goes wrong, or something occurs that you didn't anticipate. Perhaps a hole opens up in the earth and swallows your tractor.
Oh my goodness, that's not good.
You want to pay attention to stuff.
Sure.
So you can't take away the human factor entirely, because just too many things can go wrong that you can't just
that you can't plan for.
Not yet. Anyway.
Right.
Later, I mean, if they keep devoting enough time, you'll eventually get to the point where it can truly adapt to any situation. But
it takes time,
I don't think
though.
we've got there yet. Yeah.
Because there's always, the old adage is there's a first time for everything, right? So there's going to be a first time. Okay, let's put it this way, right? Let's get rid of all the humans out of the equation, and just say that all the systems that we have as human beings are being taken care of by AI, and it's adaptive AI, and it's done well to adapt to the seasonal changes, the maintenance changes, all the things that we have to do in order to survive as human beings. And then a comet comes and darkens the sky and smashes into the earth and creates like nuclear winter. Now, us as human beings are going to be able to adapt to that fairly quickly. However, if you have an AI that's never had to deal with that situation before, I don't think that would bode well for AI systems, right?
Yeah.
Because you're now you've got because AIs learn in generations, right? Generational learning AI. Even if you have neural networks, each cycle of learning would be considered like a generation. So if you've got something that is catastrophic that's never been dealt with before, humans obviously we've proven that we can deal with that, right? Because catastrophic events have happened, the Ice Age, for example, and humans have been able to deal with that. However, AI has never had to deal with a catastrophic situation. Like, let's say, take for instance, for I guess just anecdotal purposes, seeing as how this isn't a real world situation. But take for instance, in the Matrix, what did human beings try to do to finally defeat the rogue AI? Before the humans were enslaved by the AI, is they tried to darken the sky as like a catastrophic event to get rid of the AI once and for all, because they didn't think that the AI would be able to adapt.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually that says a lot about human intelligence, and how hard it is to
we're supercomputers.
Yeah, and how hard that is to emulate. You know, it's just it's a very difficult problem.
Well, we're taking information in from every cell of our bodies. I mean, think of how many sensors on our bodies alone that just constantly giving us input. I mean, we're visually seeing stuff, and I don't know how. I would like to know. I need, excuse me. Sorry, I need to Google this. But how much HD does the human eye actually take in? You know, how much because we have DPI, right? You know, for dots per square per inch, right, on media, and I wonder just how tight the DPI is on the human eyeball. And you take our hearing perception, or the things that we hear and the things that we feel. We got sensors all over our skin, and multiple types of sensors. We take in so much information, and yet we have no problem with it.
Right. Well, it's because most of the
we're processing everything, right?
Hold on, my producer wants to talk.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
On his stomach with both feet sticking out the back, watching something with his feet.
That's funny. Sorry. What were we talking about? She wanted to tell me about the cat. Yeah. She wanted to tell me about butterscotch. That's our cat.
Yeah.
At any rate, I was going to say something like really complex and profound, and I totally forgot.
Well, I was talking about sensory perception.
Oh yeah.
Process information.
We do that, and we do it like effortlessly.
Yeah.
You know.
No
but they've also proven that the sensory information that we really take in is not a good representation of the actual reality that we live in.
Oh yeah, you're correct.
So
we barely take parts of it, you know.
So I mean, yes, it's effortless, and the sensory information that we do take is quite a bit of information, but none of it's really correct. So, yeah, you know, I mean, how do you reconcile that? You know, where a lot of like, let's say you had a computer system that did the exact same thing, right? Like, you had a computer system that it's capable of taking in a ton of information, but none of the information is going to be right. What type of calculations are you going to be able to come up with a system that doesn't it's able to process just tons of information, but none of it's really correct?
And how would we know that it's correct or not? I mean, according to what you said, what if that AI is aware of a world that's entirely different from ours, and we think that it's something wrong with it, but it's sitting there trying to shake hands with something invisible in the air, say, "How you doing today, sir?"
Right.
You know, and you're like, "What are you talking about?" And it's like communicating on a different
like
realm
plane of existence. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I see dead people.
All right. Yeah. It's just crazy. Crazy. Well. It's crazy to think that, like, one of the theories that I heard somebody talk about, and they're doing some. This is like cutting edge research type stuff. This is like TED Talks type stuff, right?
Yeah.
They said that the most successful intelligence in the universe is ones that do not see the reality for exactly what it is. They've proven that some, like worms, they see reality for exactly what it is, but they have not changed from worms, you know. And I forgot how they tested it, but it's actually reproducible, testable type stuff. And they've tested whether or not we actually see the world for what it is, and we don't. We just don't. It's a very odd concept. It's very odd. It's hard to wrap your head around, and it's even harder for me to explain. But just rest assured that the six senses that we try to pick apart our reality with has nothing on what reality actually is.
Well, we also have another issue that we're dealing with outside of just basic sensory input, but our internal space is also dramatically interpreting things in a variety of different ways. You know, our mind, the space within our mind, tries to rebuild reality and squeeze it down into a neural network, so that we
it's like almost
our world
like
within that neural network.
It's almost like a compression, like data compression, almost.
And there's a lot of errors that occur, and that's a real thing. That happens all the time. A lot of misunderstanding of the perception of reality. I mean, you look at the current situation politically, I mean, which has been going on forever, so this is nothing new, but you always have these different political ideas because people have completely different views of reality and what's important in reality.
Sure.
You know, one person, you got, like, for instance, your Republicans and Democrats. They have a fundamental different view on what things should be.
Well, and I think that the reason they exist is because there is, you know, and they know that, so they have no incentive whatsoever to unify those ideas into a common solution whatsoever. But that's, I digress.
It's a complicated issue. I know politics can go into a very large field, and I could talk about politics all day long and probably alienate everybody in the chat. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, let's just make everybody mad today. Right. And so, but I'm just saying that for the sake of alternate realities. I mean, it's just the way the mind works, creating an alternate space within because of your personality. What we call personality has an ability to distort reality into a specific area.
Sure.
And your world is different for somebody else's because your personality is different, and your mind is different, and it's processing. I mean, if you have a mental disability, that can cause you to hallucinate things that aren't there.
Well, we're constantly seeing that the universe, as much as we've got it figured out, the universe is not what we thought it was. Like, let's say the difference. I heard somebody describe how quantum computing works, right? And he said that the difference between being able to predict what happens and understanding why what happens is the difference between, like, Einsteinian physics and quantum physics, right?
Yeah.
Like Einstein can predict how things are going to act, right? But it can't explain why, right? Like, it can take the math and predict for you how a planet is going to take gravity and rotate around something else in an orbit, even in an elliptical orbit, which is something that Newtonian physics can do. What? Yeah, it was exciting.
He cornered a squirrel.
He cornered a squirrel. Did he kill the squirrel?
He leapt on top of the woodpile, grabbed that squirrel, and flung it to the ground, and then they rolled all over the yard. And
Woo! So Butterscotch got him a squirrel, apparently.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's good.
I give him a hand to paw high five.
Yeah.
For that one. Oh yeah. Anyway.
So that's why me and my producer work so well together.
Oh, man.
At any rate, the difference between quantum physics and Newtonian Einsteinian physics is that quantum physics is the because you are talking about squirrels and cats while I'm talking about the difference between quantum physics, Newtonian physics, and Einstein physics.
Oh, I love this.
Anyway, I've got this bail stuck on here because I can't concentrate on anything. All right. So
we're gonna ruin our brains here.
We are.
Man.
So, yeah.
And she brought us back to reality. That's what
she sure did. Yeah, she sure did. All right. Well, there's that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, because that's fixing to stepping up a notch, you know.
I don't think there's anybody in the chat still listening to us anyway.
Yeah, well, that's okay because this video goes up anyway. Nevertheless.
Sure. Yeah. Correct, sir. MOSFET joined the chat about 15 minutes ago and never said hi. Hi, MOSFET. Nice to see you. Sorry I ignored you. We were in deep conversation, and then squirrels happened.
Squirrels. Oh yeah.
Squirrel.
Well, hey. Not just enjoying it. Nay, just enjoying the conversation.
Okay, good. This is the type of thing that my channel is built on, is conversations like this right here. It just and Aaron always provides me with good content to talk about.
Now I'm looking at this screen right now. I got my PS4 obviously on.
Okay.
And I have Farming Simulator pulled up, and it says free with a PS Now subscription.
Oh, really?
And I thought I was already subscribed to PlayStation. What's PlayStation Now?
No, PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now are two different services.
Okay.
So PlayStation Now is like a subscription service to video games, I think. It's like, so you've got a library of video games digitally that you can play for a subscription fee. Whereas PS Plus allows you to play those games online.
Okay. So are you?
So it's kind of like GameFly
now.
No,
So you don't have to have PS Now.
No,
For that. I mean, what's the purpose of that then?
Well, it's PlayStation's answer to GameFly. You know what GameFly is, right? It's a subscriptions based. It's kind of like Netflix for video games, basically.
Oh, so you can get like several different games because you have a subscription to PlayStation Now.
Right.
Not just the one.
Sure.
Okay. Huh. So I looked it up, looked the wrong thing up is what I did, apparently.
Right.
Oh, okay. $50. Farming Simulator 17.
Waltavius says that he's loving our conversation, by the way.
Oh. Well, like I said, I was fixed to take it up a notch because we're getting into ultimate realities, and that steps out of politics.
Oh, man.
Theoretical into religion.
Oh, my goodness.
Steps in because the whole basic concept of religion is the perception of the ultimate reality,
right? And
why we're here, and the reason why things are done, and that it's also part of philosophical discussion as well. But I mean, and that's the natural progression of the conversation as you get into that area right there.
Yeah.
I mean, the perception of God or someone who has the authority, creates everything a certain way and has a reason for why he did so.
Sure.
Which would explain a vast amount of things as well. There's a lot of area in that deal. A big portion of like Christianity involves around the ability, well, probably not mainstream Christianity, but the ability to change reality based upon faith. So
sure, yeah.
Believing that something will happen and that changes the.
I mean, I don't think that mainstream Christians would describe it like that, but that's exactly that's exactly what they're talking about when you're talking about the power of prayer, or you're talking about
faith, right.
You're talking about faith being able to change your reality. I mean, that's
right.
the basis of a lot of Christian concepts.
And not just your reality, but other people's reality
sure,
as well,
yeah.
because it's being what we consider reality as being warped by power, that goes beyond.
I don't think that
physics.
a lot of Christians probably don't put that much thought into it, though. Really.
Yeah,
and that's amazing, because it doesn't take that much thought, really, when you think about it. It really doesn't, and that's the crazy part about that, and that's how you know that it's kind of intuitive, because things that are natural tend to be more intuitive to us than unnatural things, and thereby I know that it's probably true because of the intuitive nature of it.
Well, I've been around, though. I've lived. I've been exposed to all kinds of things growing up, and I've had lots of discussions with people, and I've seen lots of things, and I've seen plenty of things that physics and natural law could not describe.
Yeah, defy description.
Defied it in a major way.
Sure.
Not just a small way, but an obvious way, that things were more than what they seemed to be. And that reality for me, and I've had to explain that to somebody before, that my reality of seeing those things as becoming a part of my natural life makes it a lot easier for me to describe and think about things, as opposed to somebody who hasn't had the same experiences as I have.
Sure.
Right. If you've never seen the dead raised, you would always thinking,
that's not possible.
Is it possible? Yeah, right. Or surely not. But if you've actually seen it in real life, where somebody come up from the ground or something, or they were dead for hours and and all of a sudden they're walking around.
Sure.
That becomes a new reality for you. And it's like amazing things. If you see it and it happens around you, it's no longer amazing.
Right.
Like a long time ago, flight was deemed
like witchcraft.
Impossible idea. Right. And now we have airplanes in the
what
air
witchery
everywhere.
is this?
It's just the perception of reality, what's real and what you accept. And
right.
So for me, a lot of miracles that most people would be shocked by, it's something that I wouldn't have a problem with at all, because of my reality and my experiences and stuff like that.
Sure.
So and this subject matter is not offensive to me, whereas it might be offensive to somebody else. But I've had to explain it over the years to different people.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Well,
we got a high.
It's a hard
from Maxi Ponce.
It's a hard kind of nut to swallow sometimes for some people. Maxi, what's up? Welcome to the chat. One of the main reasons for the schism between most mainline faiths, free will versus the preordained view of reality. Yeah. And I think that has to do with the nature of reality. Because I think it's kind of a mixture of both, really. I mean, if you look at quantum physics, there's two main ideas that are in quantum physics that represent preordinate reality and free will reality, and that is the breakdown of the wave function. Right? So what the wave function does is it says that a particle or a unit of light, which would be like a photon, right, exists as either a particle or a wave. Well, it doesn't exist as both at the same time. What happens is it exists as a wave in a waveform as kind of like a kind of a fuzzy realm of possibilities of where this particle could be until it's observed, and then it picks one place to be at one time, and then you can't determine its speed, right? So that wave function, your free will would be determined by that fuzzy existence as a possibility, right? Because it that connotes choice. Whereas once you've made the choice of where to be, that's when things turn into particle form and become more tangible. If you get my drift, right? So where you would say that particle has a preordained existence, if you had a supercomputer that could calculate things from the beginning of creation all the way till the end of creation, you could track one particle through that entire thing because it would have a preordained path through that according to the laws of physics. But the way it actually in reality acts is it's not really a particle until somebody observes it. So therefore, there's some free will chance involved, and that's actually called Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, right? So if that's the case, that's kind of like what he's talking about. There is the difference between preordained reality and free will.
Well, versus of reality, I know you're probably hitting exactly where he was intending to hit, but and my view is a little bit more, it's a little bit different because I don't view this natural world as the space to really to be considering free will versus preordained reality, like in the physical space, because I'm thinking of the internal space, or the space of, well, God's space, if you will, the realm of
like a higher dimensional space, right?
Right. That's the way I think. And so, in that space, you have one individual who has the free will to do anything he wants to, and then you have everything else.
Sure.
And everything else follows whatever that was set forth. And so even though you have, at that point, you have perception of free will, it's not really free will. It's just that you were designed to make those choices and decisions. You were designed to think that you have free, but you're still following that that path that was set out for you to begin with. No matter how complicated you think you are, the one who made you and the environment that you're in knows exactly the outcome of everything because he designed you in that particular way, the idea of a designer. So free will is there, right, but it has nothing to do with you.
Sure.
It has something to do with the one who created the...
Exactly.
Right. So the concepts are there. But that doesn't... it's kind of like saying you are allowed to have free choice, but yet at the same time, that in itself is a preordained thing, because that means something had to allow you, right? So, and something had to establish that.
That kind of goes back to the way quantum computers work, right? So quantum computers work by they don't use bits, they use qubits, right? So a qubit exists in more than one dimension, and it's the same exact qubit. Right, so what it does is whenever you're doing a calculation in one quantum computer, that one quantum computer is accessing itself in multiple different dimensions, right? So if you've got 1,000 qubits, 1,000 times 1,000 is like what, 1,000,000? It's actually in one processor. It's actually accessing 1,000,000 different possible alternate dimensions in order to do that one calculation 1,000,000 times faster. You know what I mean? So what that's saying is that the creator of one dimension is also the creator of all the dimensions, right? So whatever you choose now is like, let's say I tell you to pick a number between 1 and 2. Or pick a number between 0 and 2. You're either going to have to pick, if you pick whole number, then you've made one decision. If you tell me 2, you've picked one decision. But you've actually done both by making a choice. You've actually done both, and so. What happens is you've created an alternate dimension where you picked one, and you've created an alternate dimension where you picked two, and whatever dimension that you think you reside in both. And so the creator, being the creator of the entire reality, is also the creator of both those dimensions, right? So in essence, he knows exactly what's going to happen, and each one of those dimensions is preordained, but the dimension that you choose to live in is the one you chose to live in. That's my theory on it, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, an ultimate designer, though, places what he wants where he wants it.
True.
I mean, there's no random numbers when it really comes down to it. I mean, the person who created the computer and knows the algorithm knows exactly what position that number is going to appear in. I just can't see with all the understanding that I have. I'm someone who knows. It's not like where I forget things like myself. I'm working in this realm where I'm at right now, and there's plenty of things I don't know. But man, if I design something, I know all about what I designed. I know exactly how things are going to work out. So someone like him who has a godlike figure who has none of those nothing to
limitations.
Stop him. No limitations. I mean, you can't get away from any of the outcomes.
Right.
I mean, because you're dealing with a raw. It's a different way of thinking. You have to think in a different way in order to really get this concept. It's so basic. It's so. What's the word for it?
Counterintuitive?
Yeah, well, we base all our thinking capabilities. We base all our information upon our environment that we're in. We do a lot. Our world has a lot of influence on how we think about things, but we have the ability to perhaps imagine different worlds, and you really have to get down to the most basic, fundamental, abstract way of thinking when it comes to considering an entity that has no bars, no.
Yeah, it's almost incomprehensible. Yeah. I mean, it probably is incomprehensible, really.
Incomprehensible idea, because we're so used to. I think we can get the gist of most things. It's kind of like. It's very difficult, for instance, to think about, I'm a guy, but it's difficult for me to consider what a woman's thinking about, because her reality is different. Her internal space is very different from mine. But you can get to the point where you can begin to guess and predict what she's thinking, because you begin to start to understand what her reality is. And that's, that's a wonderful thing to be able to understand. But in reality, my world is different from hers, and I'm not going to think in her terms, because just being a little different becomes a difficult task for me.
I wonder if you could take you could simulate that for an AI. Like if you could take every choice that an AI could make, instead of making it make one choice, make both, and then copy the AI, and then have it go from there. And every time it made a choice, just make a copy, and therefore you're kind of like making an alternate dimension where the AI made both choices. That'd be interesting to do.
What is that theory where you have multiple dimensions, and every dimension, it's like, what if you made choice? The dimension is based on multiple possibilities. Like
that's
every instance where you had a choice creates an alternate reality.
Right. That's the multiverse.
Theory. I guess it's a very specific theory, because on one hand you could say, well, there's multiple dimensions, and each dimension can have a different reality in it. But then there's the other theory where, like, every choice you make creates another dimension.
Right.
And so
That's what I was talking about earlier, was the multiverse theory, which In practicality, in all practical terms, they've proven it. You know, now it's just a matter of how does it work, you know. Now it's a matter of why, which is always the hard question in science, is why. We've seen that it works, we know how it works, but why does it work that way? It's always the hardest question to answer. And I don't think that they've answered that yet. And really, it's that goes back to the faith thing, where
See, I like to start, you know, when I consider things, I always like to start from that realm, but that perspective, that because we don't know, there's so many things in the outward realm, in the physical world, that we don't know. But if you start it from the idea of the why instead of what, sometimes that helps.
Right? Yeah.
Things.
Yeah. Sure.
I give you, for instance, I give you an example of that,
which is completely counterintuitive.
Yeah,
Completely.
it's kind of like with Einstein.
Yeah.
Einstein was thinking about you're talking about special theory of relativity, and there's lots of things like how can you go? There's the concept. Now this is within the Einstein idea, but there's a concept of instantaneous movement, and I'm not talking about using wormholes. I'm talking about we have multiple levels of speed, right? You can go 100 miles an hour, you can go 1,000 miles an hour. You can go to the point, now theoretically you should be able to go to the point where you're going so fast that you're instantly arriving at another space in another world. Like, for instance, instantly traveling from here to Jupiter.
Sure.
Right? In an instant. I mean, theoretically, you should be able to run so fast that you're instantaneous. But at the same time, that can't be, because you cannot be in two places at one time, because that's what instantaneous will mean, that you're traveling through all the points between here and there.
Hence the speed of causality.
Right. So you have two problems. Now, in reality, the solution, right, this goes to the why. Like, for instance, a God would have to design a situation like this, where how do you have both things happen at the same time? How can you have instantaneous movement and at the same time not violate the law of being in two spots at once? Well, it's simple. And Einstein predicted, he figured it out. What happens is time for use begins to slow down.
Right.
So as you get to an ultimate speed that we call the speed of light, which is 186,282 and 396 thousandths miles per second.
Right.
That's the speed of light, right? That we perceive it to be. If you're someone standing on the ground looking at it, you're seeing somebody traveling 186,000 miles per hour, or miles per second. Okay? But the person who's traveling at that speed, what happens is, as he approaches the speed of light, time starts to slow down.
Right.
So you're unaware. So
everybody else looks like they're standing still.
Yeah, from your perspective, not only did you go 186,000 miles per second, but you went faster. Now you're going 1,000,000 miles per second. Now you're doing 2,000,000 miles per second, because your perception is that you're just traveling faster and faster, just like even all the way to the point where you're instantaneous traveling. Your perspective is that you're traveling instantly, because what is going on is that time starts to slow down for you. At the speed of light, time stops for you,
right?
As a traveler,
right? So anywhere past that, you're actually traveling backwards in time.
Well, yeah. See, but that can't happen, because in this situation, not really, because you can't get faster than instantaneous, and that's what the speed of light represents: instantaneous time. But at the same time, you're not being in all points at the same time, because the person on the Earth observes you as only traveling 186,000 miles per second. Therefore, you are going from one point to the next, and you're not instantly being in all points at once, but you're traveling from one point to the next.
Well, and then there's something that Einstein called spooky action at a distance, which was quantum entanglement, which he said couldn't happen. Yeah.
Yes, I was going to mention that one earlier too, where somehow they're both connected to each other, and both particles, you affect one particle and the other particle, even though that one particle might be on the moon, both particles are affecting each other.
Right.
That's crazy. That's your alternate dimension thing too. I guess. Somehow they're against each other, it's touching each other.
And there is, I mean, a very average, everyday example of what you're talking about, which is an electron moving from one orbit to another orbit. It does it instantaneously, because there's orbits around atoms. Let me read the chat here because chat's going crazy. Canman UK says you guys sound smart, so thought he would ask. Waltavia says, why would the two be mutually exclusive, Canman? Spooky motion at a distance? Yep. Spooky, yeah. The Bible says, Canman says, the Bible says that God created the earth and the heavens and everything in it in 7 days. Actually, it was 6 days and he rested on the seventh. But that cannot be true, but God created the earth as the Bible states. Why no mention of dinos? Okay, well, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, he's just being honored,
yeah.
I guess.
Krusty the Clown, welcome to the chat. Want to come out and play with Krusty? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Maybe we should stick to talking about squirrels.
Yeah. I think that might be a good thing.
I'm watching your stream there. I don't know if I'm...
Yes, sir.
It's still live. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You're still getting them bales. That's a lot of tedious
I'm almost
work.
done. It's tedious, but it's not at the same time. Once you get it done, like once you get it down, the controls down, it's pretty easy. But it's very satisfying for some reason. I don't know why it's satisfying, but it's really satisfying to stack things up in this game for some reason. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I enjoy doing it, so I'm going to keep on doing it.
Also, Krusty streams.
Oh, he does?
Krusty the Crown. Yeah, apparently.
What does he stream?
I don't know. What do you stream, Krusty? Well, you got a compliment there.
I did.
Mr. Iceman.
Awesome.
Yeah. What Iceman does in episodes will leave you smiling.
Aw. Well, thanks. I appreciate that.
Well, Krusty says he streams this, so I guess.
Oh, really?
He's
Oh, okay, cool.
You?
Awesome.
Oh.
Oh, he probably streams Farming Simulator. That's cool.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I haven't. I really.
Twitch does that where you actually stream somebody else's stream. And
oh, okay.
Yeah, but I didn't know YouTube does that, right? Okay, so that makes sense.
Fredo's sitting outside with a bunch of feathers in his mouth.
Oh, I got another cat, Alfredo. He's sitting outside with a bunch of feathers in his mouth. So apparently my cats are... Did you know that the common house cat is the 6th most successful hunter in the entire world?
I believe it.
It is.
I believe it because they're so intelligent. I mean, a cat is very, very intelligent. They're very
Did
smart.
you just see that? Did you see what I did there?
You know,
Watch.
what?
I know you've got a little delay on your screen.
Yeah, I see. You dropped both bells.
Yeah, I just flung them. That's something you got to watch out for. Centrifugal force is a thing on here.
In reality, those bells are pretty good size. Those
Yeah, they
big
are.
square bells.
Yeah, they're big. They ain't the small ones. Those are the big ones.
That makes it a lot easier to handle, though. The little ones are annoying.
Yeah.
You grab them, you have to throw them up. They weigh like 60, 65 pounds to throw those things. You have to throw them up several feet sometimes. And you getting hay down your shirt, and it's hot, usually very, very hot. You're fixing to die.
It's a great workout, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, man, you get stout, you either live or you die.
Right. That's always when it's life and death. That's always a good workout.
Right. And so those big bales are pretty cool, you know, for that kind of work. I always liked them. You just take a wedge of it and you feed to the cows, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Take a slice of it.
When I was growing up, my grandpa had some cows, and he used to take me when I was like 4 or 5 years old. He used to take me in the back of the truck with these big bales, you know, and the cows would all line up and stare at you like you were some sort of alien.
Yeah.
I mean, they would just, man, it was the creepiest feeling in the world.
Cows are intelligent too. People don't understand that, but they are.
Well,
they can do things.
They're not. I mean, they're intelligent. They're not that.
They don't have incentive.
No,
you give them the right opportunity.
There's a reason.
you teach a cow, and you'll find out. Cows learn things. I mean, they learn how to open gates. They figure things out. That they have to have a reason.
There is that. Well, there's a reason why we don't hunt cows. You know what I mean?
If you hang out with a cow, though, if you hang out with them and you teach them, right, you'll get something.
Like, you can hunt a cow with a hammer. Really?
Well, not if it's a wild cow, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can just walk up to it and be like, here's some hay, and then just hit it in the head with a hammer. And be like, well, there's no sport in that.
They're not gonna come up to you. They're gonna look at you. Hey, there's some people that have cows around here that are like virtually wild, and you know, basically wild. The farmer or the rancher hardly ever sees their cow. They seldom feed them. There's sometimes that happens, and man, those things are spooky animals. They'll run and they'll hide from you. And
you know, I'm originally from Wyoming, and one of the things that we have out there are buffaloes. And one of the evolutionary traits that buffaloes have gained is the fact whenever there's a predator around and they feel endangered, they will all gather together and stare directly at the predator, and they don't have the regular herd mentality of run. They have the herd mentality of, we're not going anywhere, you are. And as soon as a predator gets them to run, that's when they start picking them off, which is why they've evolved to be like that, you know. So, I mean, they're not completely stupid. Galactic Research Initiative, welcome to the chat. Have fun, Ice. Got a bail for a meeting. All right, Travis Nelson, see you later. Thank you for coming. Galactic Research Initiative, or GRI, says, time for some ARC. You getting ARC, Iceman? Well, I haven't gotten paid yet, so no. Not yet. Waltavia says, sheep are the most creative species on Earth when it comes to looking for a way to die. Yeah. That's pretty good. I like that one.
That's a reputation I don't want to have.
That's pretty good. This is longer than I've streamed in a long time. It doesn't feel very long whenever you're playing Farming Simulator, because every activity in Farming Simulator takes so long to do. Like, I've been doing this for a long time now. I think for over an hour, at least.
Well, yeah. Well, it promotes what it says here. Started streaming 3 hours ago.
Yeah. See. I think what I'm gonna try to do this time is I'm gonna put 8 per row this time instead of 6, and see if I can still make it over there. That ought to be interesting. We'll see if this goes completely wrong. It should be entertaining to watch, at least.
Well, I'm looking forward to playing Assassin's Creed this afternoon.
Is that what you're going to be doing this afternoon?
Oh, yeah. I love the story. Some people don't, for some reason. But I really love the story.
I think it's because the main character is really whiny. Like the actual main character, not like the assassin main character, but the actual the guy that you play. Yeah, whatever his name is.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
He's really a whiny baby, and I think comes from
hourly Racine though.
Right.
You know, it's not like continuously there.
But it's like you could have had the game without that part of the, without that entire part of the story. You could have still had the same game. I think that's why people don't like it. Because, okay, now I've got to put up with this whiny dude for no apparent reason.
Yeah, I would have never played that series. But my nephew, years ago, started playing it. And I would have never done it. I would have never bought the game or nothing. And he was sitting there playing it. I actually sat down and watched him play. And I started getting into the series. Then he's like, he played the next one, and the next one. It's like, okay, when are you getting the next game? And I went. Normally it's the opposite. I used to be the one who played the games, and the nephews watched. But it got to the point where this was interesting. This story was pretty magnificent. And at some point I said, okay, I've got to buy my copy. He's no longer doing it, and so, but yeah. So I'm like one of the few games that I will play to the end. I will, so you can't play to the end of No Man's Sky, really,
no.
Or Minecraft either. But certain games that I have to play all the way through, like Skyrim, the Morrowind series.
Oh yeah.
I played Morrowind. I played the Elder Scrolls series. The first one, Morrowind. Then it was Oblivion.
You know what? Skyrim was the only one I really liked. Really.
Oh.
And I hate to say that because I don't know. Because everybody who...
You didn't like Oblivion?
I didn't. I bought it thinking I was going to like it, and I totally played it for 2 hours. And I couldn't stand it. I don't know what it was about it. And then I got Skyrim after people were like, no, you got to play it. And I played it, and I was like, oh, man, this is a cool game. So I don't know what the difference is between the two, but I really like Skyrim, and I can't stand Morrowind. The Morrowind series, like Oblivion.
Well, the very first one, I started in from the very first one, Morrowind itself, and partly from the story and the environment. I mean, at the same time, I can understand why somebody perhaps wouldn't want to mess with it, but for some reason, I like those series. There's something about it, like The Witcher. I ended up buying The Witcher and stuff, and I played it, and I didn't like it. And a lot of people like The Witcher.
Yeah, they said that it's like the game of the decade. It didn't appeal to me. Is what I've heard people say, and I've never played it.
I didn't connect with the main character either. He's kind of crude and rough, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not like that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a little raunchy at the same time. But I didn't even like the gameplay.
Right.
There's something about it. I didn't even like the graphics so much. While Oblivion and Skyrim and all those, I really enjoyed everything about the game. It was a very beautiful game. And like, for instance, one of the things, I think it was in Oblivion, one of the scenes was that you went, or one of the, like, what do you call it, missions. Okay, so you like multiple missions, you got all these things going on. I ended up showing up to a house. Inside the house there was a painting, and it was a nice looking painting, and you clicked on the painting and suddenly you're warped to the world of that painting.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty
you're
cool.
Wandering around.
I remember that mission.
And to me it's like, wow. I mean, who comes up with stuff like this? And it was beautiful.
There's a lot of drugs involved.
Neat. Yeah, really. Truly. but the whole series was amazing to me. And the other one, like I said, Assassin's Creed, those are monstrously large worlds. Another one, the Nathan Drake series, what do you call it? Uncharted series?
Uncharted, yeah.
With Nathan. I really, really enjoyed that. More than I would have thought possible. Just certain particular ones I like, and some things I just can't do for very long, and I'm done. I'm through.
Like I said, I'm more of a simulation gamer. I don't really like any of those games. For some reason, here's what I always do with games that are very story driven like that is I always pick apart the story until I can't stand it anymore. Same thing I do with movies. Is I find holes in the story and then it totally ruins it for me. So I just for the same reason I quit writing the book I was writing, is because I would find holes in my story and I'd end up rewriting the same chapter like 20 times. Because I would keep on finding holes in it and holes in it and holes in it, and instead of just going with it and trying to entertain people. Because I'm a very analytical person, like, that's why I play simulation games. It's just there's nothing to pick apart. It's just it is what it is. It's just it's a physics-based simulation. That's it. Anyway,
I like stories as well. I like a good story. We have somebody, Joshua Street, said hi.
Oh, okay.
And,
yeah, I was wondering what
somebody said they hated Fallout 3 but loved Fallout 4. You know, I'm the same way. I couldn't play. There's something about Fallout series that bothered me. I don't like devastation, right? Looking at, like, it's a nuclear Fallout world. It's a Fallout, right? It's the name of the game. You walk around, everything's destroyed. After a while, I get depressed, you know, watching all that stuff and seeing. But for some reason, Fallout 4 I actually liked it.
I did too.
I don't know why.
I liked it, but like, I don't know. There was something about it whereas, like, after a while, I just got bored. Like, I didn't even care about it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like, whatever.
Yeah, I played through the game, right? I played through the story.
Like, I didn't even get.
That's enough for me.
I didn't even get through the story. Like, it at some point during that game, I just quit caring. I have no idea what point that was. I just stopped.
Okay. Same thing with me and what was that game I said a while ago? The Witcher.
Yeah.
At some point, I just stopped. Right. It's like it no longer appealed to me. I didn't hate it, but I got to the point where I didn't care.
Right. Yeah. I was like, whatever. Yeah. Time to play. And I think I went right back to playing Farming Simulator.
I've got a couple of racing games. I like racing games. I like stuff like that.
Gran Turismo Sport's going to come out here pretty soon. I'm going to get that. Definitely.
I have a racing wheel. I have an expensive little racing wheel over here.
Awesome.
Actually, with the pedals and everything.
Yeah.
And it's collecting dust. I need to actually use it. But it's one of those Thrustmaster things, or whatever.
Sure. Have you tried Elite Dangerous at all?
No, I have not. I've seen very little about it either. Even though it was on your channel, I didn't see very much of it at the time. I was really busy at the time when you were.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool. That. I just wondered if you'd seen it. It's also a simulator. It's kind of like a flight simulator in space, basically.
Yeah.
And it's a really nice space simulation type genre of game, and they've got a 10-year plan for the game, so you know that if you like it, it's going to be something that you're going to be able to like for a while.
Hey man, I love
if you
games
like it though.
I love games, and I want a game that gets me involved. So I'm willing to try things, but at the same time, I'm a little bit skeptical about some things too.
Yeah, well, Elite Dangerous is kind of like. I
love games.
It's kind of like it's an acquired. It's either it's your thing or it's not really. It takes, I think, a special type of person to play a game like that, because it's a very technical game. Like, learning how to land in that game, you feel like you beat the game when you learn how to land for the first time. It's that difficult.
Really?
But once you get it, then you're fine. You know, but the learning curve on that game is gigantic. I mean, it's more like a learning cliff, really. And a lot of people, it turns a lot of people off. But it's definitely, it's on my level of game. It's a simulation game, and I love simulation games. So, and there's no storyline to it. I mean, there's lore in the game. We're actual lore in the game, not like No Man's Sky lore, like actual lore in the game, and it serves its own story. And then there is weekly story additives to it that take place as community goals. So as a community, you work together to accomplish goals for humanity, and it's a really neat way to add story into the game on a weekly basis. And so there is story, and it's a very deep story, but that's not what the game is based on. The game is based on the core mechanics of it being a flight sim, in space, and it's got a great economy to it. You know how I always used to complain about the economy in No Man's Sky? The economy is almost too rich in Elite Dangerous. It's almost too good. So.
It's like having too much fun.
Right.
To the point where. Yeah.
It's very complicated.
Somebody subscribed to your channel.
Woohoo!
Apparently.
Who we got?
Like Joshua
Street. All right, thanks, Josh. Appreciate you, bud. Nuevo is making fun of my hairline. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
that's good.
I didn't want to say anything.
That's fine. Make fun of my hairline all you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'd rather be bald on purpose than bald on accident. That's why I shave it. All right, let's see if we can get all the way to the barn with an extra layer of bales on this trailer. So that'll be pretty interesting. All right, so here we go. Let's go ahead and zoom out here. I stacked it 4 high this time. So let's see if it's a little bit more top heavy. This is going to be interesting.
Are you playing Simulator 17?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay. Making sure. I keep an eye out on it.
I've also got 15, but 17 is much better.
Well, yeah, you'd want to stay up on. I'm sure there's plenty of more mods on this 15.
Yeah, well, they didn't have the ability to use mods in the console version on 15. They just came out with that on 17.
Oh, okay. Yep, they're thinking ahead of time.
Yep.
You got to do that when you do that programming. You got to think ahead of time. You got to know exactly what you want. I've spent a lot of time on that chatbot program that I've been working on for a while.
Yeah.
And you got to think ahead. What do you want?
Yeah, you really do.
You want to add plugins? You want to do this? Yeah.
You know what? I hope this trailer fits inside the barn.
Well, the best way of doing it is just get a good running start and see if it all goes in there. Yeah. Just hit it hard, man.
Just hit it really hard?
It'll squeeze in. Yeah, it'll squeeze in. You just got to just give it the gas.
This is top heavy. I can barely turn without tipping over.
Oh, man. Don't do it, man. In reality, those trailers only handle so much weight.
Yeah, I know it.
So, we actually set fire to a trailer. There was so many hay bales on the trailer that the fender was pushed up against the wheel.
Oh,
and it caused
no.
it to heat up and caught fire.
Caught the tire on fire?
And it caught the hay on fire.
Oh,
the hay
my
was like up against the fender, and it was so hot that the hay caught on fire.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, well, we were pretty close to the house at that moment. We were bringing it from a field from
Could you imagine?
else.
Could you imagine? Okay, you seen these bale forks I got on the front of this thing? Can you imagine hitting a deer with one of those?
Yes.
It barely fit. It barely fit. But dude, you could hit a deer with one of these bale forks, and you wouldn't be able, unless you stopped and took it off like right then. You could just like drive through town with a deer stuck to your tractor. That's horrible.
They deserve to die. I'm sorry. They cause a lot of car accidents. They deserve to die.
How about this? You could just start a fire and use it as like a shish kebab.
Now here I am talking to you, and all of a sudden I got a notification that No Man's Sky version 1.38 installed.
Really?
So apparently it was downloading.
Nice.
Well,
I might check that out.
1.38. Is that a new one or is that older? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I think 1.38 is the brand new one. But I uninstalled No Man's Sky, so I'm gonna have to reinstall it.
You know
if I'm gonna
really
check
sad
it out.
is all these people were making decisions like, I should delete my original save so I can play the new one fresh, and then all of a sudden now you have multiple saves.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, no, no, why?
See,
people making decisions.
yet another thing that should have been in the game when it came out, the first version, like the first day that it came out, that should have been in there. It's just, like I said, they act like a mobile company, like they're not ready for the big leagues or something. That's just the feel I get from them, is that they're not ready for AAA games, which they aren't. They're not a AAA game developer, so I shouldn't expect them to be. That's kind of my own fault, really.
Well, as a programmer myself, I tend to give them a little bit more credence because
leeway,
of,
maybe.
Yeah, because it's a soft spot. I know how difficult it is just to do a little bit, and so I'm sort of like in awe to a degree of their ability to do what they have, considering what I would have to do in order to get to their level. Usually those big industries, they've got the top dogs involved making those games, which is crazy. Some of the most brilliant people in the world have to all work together. It's in that we got to a point in time where you have to. The only games that are selling is the ones that, truly sell. Is the ones that the most talented people in the world are willing to perform,
right?
Are willing to create. Instead of working on the cure for cancer, no, they have to be working on
video games.
A video game to entertain me.
Video games.
And I won't buy.
Video games are much more fun than cancer, so
right.
I don't blame them.
It just makes me think about all that talent going just for my entertainment alone, and I only buy the best. Now, if you're somewhat good at programming, no, I don't care about you.
Right.
I want the best, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if that were the case, I wouldn't be playing Farming Simulator.
Yeah. Well, still, some pretty talented people. If somebody comes out with a good idea now and then,
Well, I think that's where No Man's Sky. I think that's where they shine. Is that they came up with a really good idea and they made it work.
Yeah. Original.
Everything after that was crap, but the original idea and the original vision for the game and the way that they implemented it was great. Not everything they did after that was crap. Like the base building was okay, the farming was alright, but compared to their original vision, everything else pales in comparison that they've done so far. Everything else pales in comparison to their original vision.
Yeah. Well, they have another problem too. It's that this particular community that surrounds No Man's Sky, the special type of nerd that exists that this game really appeals to. Well, they're the very kind of person that has a very intricate, very detailed imagination of what they expect to be, and that's why we had problems with hype. It wasn't just because that they misrepresented themselves.
Right.
It was more like the community itself was the type of community that allowed themselves to over imagine what the possibilities of No Man's Sky would be.
Sure, yeah.
They were the type of people, because there's a lot of people out there that don't do that. But this community is one of those types of people that do that. They're sort of like, they began to imagine what it will be like, what is going to happen.
Yeah, it's because
how is it going to be? How awesome will it be?
They didn't have anybody mediating that. If they would have had a community manager kind of mediating that a little bit, I think that they would have done.
Well,
I think they would have done themselves a service.
Notice how it caught so many people unaware. I'm willing to venture that this is a very unique instance where this occurred. That all the elements had to come together to make the perfect storm, and that it hasn't really happened until now. I would care to say, because people have been making massive games for many years now. People have been making all kinds of games for many years now, but none have had the impact of this particular deal. And I think it's because this particular genre of game, this particular type of game, pulled out these particular type of audience that caused this issue. It wasn't just because of what he said.
Quite possibly.
It wasn't just because of that. It was because the audience that this particular game drew were the type of people who was to overhype themselves, that was to imagine things that wasn't there, right? And so it created a perfect storm of sorts. And so the unrealistic imagination that we, as No Man's Sky, the audience of No Man's Sky, the unrealistic intentions or the ideas that we had, caused majority of this trouble, caused damage that shouldn't be there. I mean, we're all supposed to take this from the idea that what is this game going to be like, and will I like it or not, like we do with every other game. We sort of test it out. But when we headed into this game, we had all these crazy ideas, perhaps even unrealistic ideas of what No Man's Sky was supposed to be. And I would dare to say unrealistic, because sometimes the imagination not only guesses what it wants, but it says that it's going to like it too. Like, I imagine that I'm going to like this, this meal that I'm fixing to eat. I imagine it's going to be the best meal I ever ate, right? And you say, well, even if the food was there, perhaps you even had all your favorite food there, that's still not a guarantee that you're going to like it this time around, because that's a moment by moment thing. And so it's a crazy thing that happened, and a lot of people have learned from what happened to No Man's Sky to try to go a little bit further about explaining what's in their game. Perhaps I don't even think they even realize the full implications of where the mistake was.
I would I would tend to agree with you within the first 3 months of the game coming out, right? But after it came out, and even I would even agree with you up to the first update. But after that, they used a lot of the same excuses, like, oh, we're just a small developer that, we're doing what we can type of thing. And it's like, no, you made, just in profit, you made 70 mil off the first week of sales. You don't have to be a small team. You can now afford to be a bigger team. So that excuse doesn't fly anymore. And then on top of that, okay, well, we got death threats, which is why we don't want to talk to our community. Okay, well, there's a lot of folks who get death threats, and they still have to act like professionals, and the professional way of doing things is by letting your community know what you're working on, and staying in contact with your community. And I understand that they're scared, and they're that type of people that, it's kind of antisocial by nature and really too smart for their own good type of person. But I like I said, they really acted like, and this is me being nice, is they acted like a mobile software developer, because that's the core nature of what they are, is a mobile software developer, and I think we expected them to be something that they weren't, which is a AAA game developer that, well, an indie studio who was going to be a AAA game developer, when in all actuality, all they are is a mobile software studio. That's what they are. There's nothing really indie about them. They came up with a really good mobile game, and then decided to branch out from there and didn't do it very well.
In a way, though, Minecraft itself, Minecraft stayed small, and there is nobody has made more money than Minecraft. Yet Minecraft managed to stay a very tiny organization.
But they're really a truly an indie developer, though. You know, they weren't.
In a way, it's not that much. Well, it's not much different than Minecraft in its origins. Sean Murray doesn't have that much of a background, and Notch actually did some other things as well, little things here and there. Just there was also, there's a lot of things to consider in this deal, but I guess don't want to just say everything, but
right.
You know.
Well, I don't really care about
as much credit.
I've held my tongue a lot about No Man's Sky because I didn't want to hurt the community, and I didn't want to hurt the people at Hello Games, but right now I really don't care any of that, really, because I don't play it anymore, and that might be kind of selfish, but I mean, I don't talk about No Man's Sky for the most part on my channel because I don't want to hurt the community and the people that are still playing it, because I know the people and they're really nice people, they're good people. But as far as Hello Games, whatever they come up with next, they can keep it in my opinion, because I'm not going to be treated like they treat their consumers like they're serfs or something. Like, we don't have to tell you anything, and you're just gonna take what we give you, and they're disrespectful to their community, I think, and I'm not gonna buy anything they're selling. That's just my own opinion, and and if you're
I'm just analyzing it a little bit. I'm just sort of
that's a little bit more emotional. Yeah. I'm a little bit more emotional now. Yeah.
I know, I can tell that. Yeah. You know, and sometimes emotion comes from the fact that you get tired. You're tired of something. Yeah. And it's like I get tired of a certain game or whatever. I have to remember that, you know, we get exhausted by that. If you play a game too long, you get tired of it. You know, if you know, you can only do something for so long, you have to realize that. I've seen people completely wear themselves down because they felt like they had to play a game. Like with Minecraft, I always go back to Minecraft because there's so many examples of that world that I'm aware of. There are people who created content for Minecraft for years, and they've completely got to the point where they hated every aspect of the game.
Right.
Because they felt like they were forced to play the game after a while.
Right.
And they played thousands and thousands of hours, and they just they can't even look at Minecraft again.
I actually have a friend of mine that is a beta tester for No Man's Sky, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't know that for a really long time. Like when I was doing the Cobra TV show, right? Which I've kind of stopped now just because it takes up a lot of my time, and I haven't talked to Cobra for a really long time. Love the guy. I just haven't talked to him for a really long time. Super good dude. But when I was on the Cobra TV show, a lot of the predictions that I would make was coming from like inside knowledge on the development of the game, because I had a friend of mine that's a beta tester for the game. And he would tell me the stuff that they're working on implementing in the next version and stuff like that. I'm still friends with him. I've been friends with him ever since like Modern Warfare 2, you know. And he actually suggested that I become a beta tester on the game a while back, and I was just like, dude, that's all he plays. I'm friends with him on PlayStation 4, and he's a beta tester on PlayStation 4. And that's literally, he plays nothing else for like 10 or 12 hours a day. Right. Woo. And he gets paid like $22 an hour to play it for that much, you know, which is good. But dude, I would hate that game after having to play it for 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and then having to report back to somebody about what you found. Like, no. Nope. Not doing it. Mm-mm. Like that would completely ruin the game for me. Ooh, I need some gas. Galactic Research Initiative says the pre-release to the update was atrocious. 3 months of cryptic bullcrap, yelling at a 8-bit hamster in a maze. I couldn't stand it. Yeah, he's talking about the year, the last update release. Yeah, that was super. I think that too. That really, they hyped it up to where it was like, this better be good, man. On this last update, they really hyped it, man, and they did it intentionally, hyped it. And then I thought, man, if these guys are as scared of the community as they say they are, and they're intentionally hyping this is going to be really good. And it turned out, it was like, dude, I went through all this like 3 months of hype for this. Come on, man. You know, and that's kind of how it felt. Like, all right, we finally got a winner. We're going to hype it. And then it turned out to be kind of like, nah, that wasn't really worth hyping.
What were you expecting?
My dreams to come true. And it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen.
I mean, knowing you had expectations.
Oh, I did. I really did. Well, I saw pictures of the multiplayer that they were working on, and it's not the multiplayer that they put in the game. I've got a picture of the multiplayer they're working on, and it didn't have anything to do with little freaking orbs at all. And I was expecting that multiplayer, and the orbs came out, and I was just like, oh, what is this nonsense? You know, and I understand it's because they couldn't get the player characters to work. Actually, I talked to my buddy about the player character models. He said that they looked atrocious. Like, they were horrible, which is why they went with the orb thing, right? For multiplayer. Because the player models that they were working on looked super, like, stupid. So he was thankful that they went with the orb thing. But at the same time, man, I know that they have the capability to show more than one ship, right? Oh, I just knocked over an entire stack of hay bales. So I saw pictures of the ships actually stacked one on top of each other because there were more than one player in the same system with multiple ships, and they parked them right next to one another, and you could see them. So why isn't that in the game? Because I know that they have the capability to do that. Because I've seen the photo evidence of it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, like I said, I've never been involved or cared much for multiplayer. I mean, naturally, if I was invited, like for instance, like me playing Farming Simulator with you would be just fine because I'm intentionally playing it with somebody that I know.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
It's a very specific thing because I know you and stuff, but otherwise, it is not on my mind, right, to think like that. I mean, I just don't multiplayer with people. So when people are adding multiplayer thing to a game, I'm thinking, well, what's the point in this? It has nothing to do with me.
I've never been that much of a multiplayer person either. But you know, the more I gather friends, the older I get, the more friends I gather, and it's just fun to play with friends, I suppose. I never understood why that they made like Sim City multiplayer. Like, what? That's one game multiplayer really confused me. Like, why would you do that? Why would you, like, not every game needs to have a multiplayer. But I think we come from that generation where like nothing was multiplayer when we were growing up unless it was in the same room. You know what I mean? Like, I remember you could play Mario.
Split screen.
Yeah, you could play Mario, like, one could be Mario, one could be Luigi, and that was multiplayer on the same screen. Like, that's as much multiplayer as things got. Yeah. And now everything has got to be multiplayer. It's like, why? I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
remember playing GoldenEye.
Yeah, GoldenEye. That's another one.
Yeah.
It was like one of the first true multiplayers.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. We got things going on in the chat here. The story implementation was a joke. Half of the people lose their saves. Shoot, just not working right. I could go on. Players being amazed at orbs floating around. Just play Elite and fly. A lot of games can implement properly. The orbs was just a joke. Not everything needs it. It's just do it right or don't do it at all. Yeah, that's another thing. And that's an old adage. Like, see, I think with a company like Hello Games, that has reinvented the wheel, there's a mentality that comes with that. Like, we can do this better, right? And it's kind of an undisciplined way of thinking at things, although it's very innovative. It's something my dad said. If you don't do it right, don't do it. If you've got to do it wrong to do it, don't do it, type of thing. And that's a very kind of like when you were a kid, you'd hear adults say that a lot. And that's a very adult way of thinking. It's a very mature way of thinking, and I think that a lot of innovation doesn't come out of that, right? Because there's no chances being took. But at the same time, it works, and it's very.
What I wanted with the game, and I still think that this would be best for the game, because knowing the style of game that it is, it's an explorer game. That's what it's for. It's on multiplayer. It's explorer. There's some games like that has this genre, but very few, and so what you need to do is you give the player reasons to go long distances, reasons to go out there, not just explore intimately the world you're in, but like, for instance, you take the story mode, and like I said, I haven't seen it. Story mode is like short term, right? You don't just like go to the other side of the galaxy for something.
I got about 2 or 3 missions into the story mode, and it completely glitched out on me. So.
Oh, so you don't know?
It just completely stopped, and then I quit caring.
See, one of the things one of the things that it's not good is the addition of those portals that
that's
allow
another
you
thing.
to travel all over to every planet, because that eliminates the idea of traveling through space for exploration. Now, what initially got people moving was the goal to get to the center of the galaxy. It's a goal, a long-term goal that causes you to go over multiple planets and make your way toward the center of the galaxy. That motivated the majority of the people. Not everybody was motivated by that entirely.
I never even got to the next galaxy.
Some people wanted to be able to at least get there to see it, right? They didn't have to go through it, perhaps just to see it, or perhaps to feel like it's there. Perhaps they wanted to explore other aspects. In the back of their mind, they realize that there's something they want to see at the center of the galaxy.
Sure.
Perhaps. And so that being there gives you a feeling of purpose. And so the more reasons that you have, like, for instance, my idea of like the 7 wonders of the galaxy or so, where you have these specifically built things that you need to go see at some point, that you should go see, or perhaps even the story says you need to go to the certain place. Perhaps they're unique things. Perhaps they were like intentionally designed by the creators of the game.
So now that would have been cool
to look a certain way, right? So you have to go to a certain planet because it was specifically designed, or perhaps to a certain station.
Yeah, but that's
very unique.
Not in the game.
Right. That needs to be in the game because that's what the game is about. It's about exploration on a large scale.
Right.
Having a goal on a large scale.
Now that is an Elite Dangerous, however. So That is an Elite Dangerous. Like, there is stuff in Elite Dangerous that is designed by the devs to get you to explore, like alien bases and ancient relics and all sorts of mysteries to solve and stuff like that. That all has to do with the lore of the in-game story. And it's actual places that you can go to that you need to find in order to... And a lot of them haven't even been found yet. They're just Easter eggs just waiting for people to find them. And, like, they said something like, it's a 1-to-1 recreation of the Milky Way galaxy, and 0.03% of it's been explored by human beings. 0.3%. And the game's been out for 3 years. And that stuff is all put into the game. You can even go to Sagittarius A, which is the supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy, and go visit it. Like, that's one of the things you get a trophy for in the game. And there are actually missions that will take you out there if you want to pick them up. Or you can just go out there with no mission and see if you can just get out there on your own. But there's certain steps that you need to take. Like, you can't just go out there with the starter ship. You got to go out there with, like, you got to build up to it. And but yeah, that exactly what you're talking about is in Elite Dangerous.
Well, that's the only thing that I can think of that would really up No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Besides good writing, good writers. Yeah. That's great. I mean, that's beauty right there. But long term, to truly follow the purpose of the exploration, the idea of exploration, you need to have
something to explore.
Yeah, right. Goals to find a specific. You can't just wandering around is the form of exploration, but it's not a complete form of exploration.
Right.
You have to have
you've got the mechanic there. You've got the mechanic there for exploration, but you don't have.
Yeah.
You don't have any. The reason why you explore is to find something that nobody's ever found, or to be the first person to find something unique, and there's nothing unique. Everything is kind of
the same planet. Yeah, you go to a planet, and perhaps physically it may be a little bit different.
Right, but it's not necessarily unique.
You've been to other 10 planets? Yeah.
Right. And that's something in Elite Dangerous that there's all sorts of these like ancient bases that were built by human beings like centuries ago that you can find, and they've all got their own logs and stories that you can read, and it's specific to that base, and they've been designed and written by the creators of the game, put in there, and then they don't tell you where it's at. It's like, okay, now go find it. And as people find them, they report the locations to other people through the internet, and then you can look up the location of it and go see it for yourself after that. It's really a neat system that they have going on. It's one of the things I really like about Elite Dangerous that I think that Hello Games could have really learned from. Get on there.
Well,
Galactic Research Initiative says, awesome trip. I've been there. Galactic Research Initiative took a trip out to Sagittarius A. I think it took them about 2 weeks, to get there and back. 2 or 3 weeks to get out to the center of the Milky Way and back out to where we were, to civilization. And then not every system has a space station in it. Like, you've got this bubble of civilization where human beings are. Then outside of that, there's nothing. You're just literally on your own, and I hope you brought enough provision for yourself, because you can't just go to a space station. And they've all got their own governments and their own politics, and you can become friendly or unfriendly with each one of the factions at each one of the systems and stuff like that. It's really neat. Which I don't know how many factions there are. There's probably in the thousands of factions. Super neat though. Well, I'm up to 77 grand. We're almost done with this field here, which means, you know what that means? I can buy an automatic bale picker upper thingy. and not have to do this anymore.
Just drive by and it picks it up for you.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You just drive next to
Nice.
it and it scoops it up and then places it on the trailer.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier, and I thought, well, okay. That's what's cool about this game. I mean, you can find all that stuff that's in this game is real equipment.
Right.
That really does. And
That's it.
people
I
actually
actually
buy and do it for this reason.
I didn't believe that the automatic bale trailer actually existed until I looked it up, and sure enough, there's people out there that own them and use them. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
I thought, surely that's not a thing. They just made that in the game, like, to make it easier. No, it's a real thing.
I haven't seen large square bale things, large square bale trailers that can pick up
Squirrel
those things.
barrels.
I've seen small. I know I can't really pronounce. I've been talking for so long. Usually a smaller bales. I've seen trailers that pick up smaller bales with little scoops and stuff. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, but nothing on this scale. Nothing with large bales. I've never seen that.
Yeah,
Of
it's
course
nice.
they make 'em.
Yeah, it costs 70 grand,
Yeah.
which is probably where
And
a
real-
lot of people don't use them.
Yeah.
All right. I think I've got a couple of bales over here, and then we can go buy the actual. You know what? I'm just gonna go buy. I'm putting this away, and I'm gonna go buy the automatic one. That's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna show you how the automatic one works. The automatic one is way easier. Man, this is a big field, man. Like all the other maps that I play, the fields are not this big. Nowhere near this big. Like this is the smallest field on this map. This would be like one of the biggest fields on one of the other maps that I play on. But I guess they like to keep the action kind of fast paced. If there is like farming action. The intense farming action of Farming Simulator 2017. If there is such a thing. Alright, so we're going to leave the trailer right here. Boink. Whoa. Oh, here's something else that you can do in this game. Did you know that you can wash your vehicles off? Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, watch this. See how it's all dirty and everything? Oh, look at that. Look at all that dirt. Look at this. I've got a pressure washer. Look at that. And you can wash off your tractor. And it actually comes clean.
Well, I've done it in real life.
Well,
Yeah, but I wouldn't have thought your game would do that.
yeah, it totally. As a matter of fact, it makes it. If your equipment gets dirty, it starts adding lag time to your controller scheme.
Huh.
So it actually will lag out. Like, well, why is it taking so long for what I'm doing on the controller to get to my tractor? Well, it's because it's dirty. And if you clean it, it'll go away. Bam. It's clean now.
It's not just there for aesthetics, is it?
Right. That's so cool to me. Now I've got a nice clean looking trailer. Tractor. What we got going on in the chat here? Awesome trip. Yep. Is this what you do when I'm at school? Sunday Sweets? Sunday Sweets? Who is Sunday Sweets? Is that my daughter? Yes, may or may not be what I do when you're at school. Ma'am. And if you are at school, I don't know why you're on YouTube. I think that might be my daughter.
Uh-oh.
What, darling? Oh, she's on the bus? Ah, okay. So she's on her way home. So where are we going? We're going to the shop. Crud, am I going the wrong direction? Where's the shop? No, I'm going the right direction. Okay. Yeah, it's my daughter. Uh-oh. Galactus Research Initiative says he'll watch his mouth. It's the end of the day. We're allowed to be on. Oh, okay. All right. Well, tell all your friends at school. Iceman Third ID says hi. I'm Darby's dad, I guess. So, hi. How you doing? Everybody at school playing Farming Simulator 2017. I'm here with my friend Aaron Snow, a.k.a. Snowman Sky, a.k.a. What's your Griswolf?
Yeah.
we're going what?
Did I have a shout out at some point? Because I have received lots of hello messages over time, last few months.
Really?
Through the the PlayStation. Just random people say hello.
It's at the end of the day. So she's allowed to be on, I guess. She might be on somebody else. My producer's now interested in what's going on. All right. So we're going to go here. We're going to go into the dealership here. And we're going to get the automatic baling trailer.
Sunday Sweets.
That's her YouTube name? That's ridiculous. All right. So, $70,000 gets us the FSX 63.72. It is a baler collector that eases the collection of bales. And it can carry 16 bales at a time, and it costs 70 grand. We're getting it. And yes, we're going to buy it. Yes, we want to buy it. There we go. Okay. So now we've got 7 grand left. Because I don't know how to keep money in my bank account in this game. Just like in real life. I'd be a horrible farmer in real life because I can't save money.
Yeah, you would die.
All right, so this is it. This is the automatic bale picker-upper. Yes, I would. All right, let's take a closer look at this here. So what it does is we'll extend the that's the scoop. So that scoops up the square bale, and then it feeds it into the trailer, and then the trailer pushes it back and stacks it up there, and then the entire trailer, once you get a stack, it will tip up, and you can place the stack vertically wherever you want it. Or I can just drive through the barn and sell them that way. Much easier than what I've been doing. Much better setup. Although it takes more trips because I can carry at least 24 bales on one of those trailers, on my flatbed trailer, and this only carries 16. So it's gonna be more trips. I'm gonna spend more in gas money, but it's gonna be much quicker in the long run to do it this way, because I don't even have to slow down to pick up the hay bales. All I gotta do is drive by them and it picks them up.
Yeah, drive by 60 mile an hour, pick up.
Right.
Wham!
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Only in a video game.
Only in a video game. I like to stay as realistic as possible since it is a simulator, but hey, if it's going to let me break the laws of physics, I might as well use it, right?
Yeah. Well, some things, the reason why some things aren't fun in real life is because of those little tedious problems that happen. Like, your bale gets caught up, and now you have to...
Now, that would be cool if they would put that in the game. If they would take the mechanics from Car Mechanic.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the game Car Mechanic?
No, I don't think so.
It's actually a game where it simulates being a car mechanic, and you can take apart the different, like, rack and pinion steering and then replace the parts and then
wow.
all that stuff. And you can it's really in depth. If they would add that mechanic into Farming Simulator to where you had to actually repair your own equipment, that would be really cool. Like, okay, I'm going to take this tire off here, set it over here, take all the lug nuts off and all that stuff. That'd be pretty neat. But they're not going to do that. I can pretty much guarantee you at the cost of my own life that they would not do that.
Well,
that's not going to happen.
They're probably watching your stream right now.
I doubt it.
Because
seriously,
they want good, solid advice, you know. I mean.
Oh yeah, and Iceman Third Idea just provides all sorts of good, solid advice for game developers.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost nighttime. Look at how long I've been doing this. I've got it on real time, and it's almost nighttime. The shadows have actually gotten longer on the field since I've started. And I'm down to 60 liters of gas. I need to really fuel up before I run out of gas. All right, I'm going to put the collector down. And you're going to see what happens whenever I get close to this bale here. All right, so we're going to line up with the bale. You don't have to line up with the bale. It kind of automatically does this, but I like to do it. Slow down, line up with the bale, and bam, look at that. It just feeds it right into the trailer. Plunk. You get a delay on your end.
Yeah, I see it. Oh, it's not just that, because it wasn't on live anymore. Sometimes it goes off live when there's a little bit of a delay.
Ah, gotcha. So then it stacks them,
yeah,
and then pushes them back. So it looks like those are the last hay bales on this field. I don't think I've got any more hay bales. So that was the last two on this field. So now I'm going to go back.
That's $35,000 per bale.
So far. So far.
So that's what you need to sell those bales for.
So it's a great investment. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm just.
Yeah. So now, if you come up on a line of bales, check this out. You just plunk, and you just drive down the row, and pick them up. Plunk.
The only way to do it.
Oh man, that's so much easier than what I've been doing. Bam! It just automatically stacks them. Of course, it's $70,000 worth of convenience. It better be convenient.
Yeah, you have to be able to make that money back.
Right.
Plus, it adds more maintenance for the trailer.
Exactly. There's that too.
There's more things to go. There are more things to go wrong.
Well,
but it does save money for in real life. You know, you would actually have extra workers perhaps helping you, and perhaps that would shave down on some of that. Just depends upon what's going on. Depends on what you're doing. Of course, that's one of the reasons why they like using large large square bales. Is because you don't have to have as many people out there.
Right.
Well, you don't have to have anybody out there picking up hay bales. The little square bales, you have to have people most of the time, unless you get a trailer like this, which I've seen before. I've seen trailers that do pick up small bales, but most of the time you just have a lot of hands out there, and then you have to deal with that and potential injuries and such.
Exactly. Yeah, workers' comp, everything that comes on with that. Yeah.
The more of these, the less Mexicans you have to hire.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but they do simulate the maintenance costs by every piece of equipment that you own costs money to maintain it every day. So they kind of simulate that a little bit. A little. All right, so that's all of the bales that we have. That's 16 bales. So now I can fold that bad boy up, and I'll show you what this does here. If I wanted to, I could go to unload bales, right? And it would actually tip this up. Watch this. Like that. And then all I would have to do is press one more button, and it will unload the bales in the middle of the street. But what I'm going to do is abort unloading and put it back down.
But some cars are wondering what you're doing.
Yeah, those cars are like, what in the world is he doing right now?
Get out of the road! They don't do that in the country. You don't hear people say get out of the road. Very seldom.
No,
You know? You got that in the city, but you don't have that in the country.
Mm-mm.
And there's always they just you just don't do that. It's etiquette.
Right.
You don't yell at people like that.
Yep.
Let alone, I mean, nobody thinks about the other alternative about being shot. But then again, that could happen more likely in the city anyway. People in the country just don't think like that. Most of them don't.
Most of them.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah. Well, really, truly, most of them. There's occasional fruit cake that might have a gun ready.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Well, now I've run into an issue. It's not letting me put my scoop back up. It's not letting me stow it because for some reason, since I tried to unload and then aborted, it's not letting me stow my scoop. So that means that I'm actually going to have to back into the barn where I'm selling these at.
Just like I said, get a good running start. You'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't want to tear the scoop off my trailer, which that's not possible in the game, but it is in real life. So, and it is a simulator, so I want to stay true to real life. So I'm going to just back it in. I'm going to back it into the barn. Right, exactly. I think after this, now that we've seen the difference between the two trailers, obviously this trailer is much faster than the other one to load and unload. Well, really not really to unload, but just to load, it's much faster. I'm going to probably, after I unload this, I'm going to probably end my stream here pretty soon. My kids are coming home. I've got to pee again.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Line it up here. Line it up. Line it up. Line it up. And uh-oh, that's not good. Is it not going to let me unload? Oh no, here we go. All right, I'm just going to put it out here and then back it in. All right, here we go. Unload right there. Bam, good. Woo.
Oh my. What in the world?
It went gremlin.
Oh, you found a way to break the game, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I found a way to break it. Super realistic.
Yep. I'll see if I can't piddle around myself, do something else, and take you up on that bathroom break myself.
Yeah. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the banter between me and Aaron. I think next time we're going to go ahead and we're going to finish baling the field 5 down there. I'm going to finish baling field 5, and then I'm going to plow these fields probably off camera, and then when we come back, we'll plant some canola. And canola is great because you don't have to deal with this baling, and it sells for twice as much as barley. Go ahead with that. And then that way the turnaround time on these fields will speed up a little bit. And yeah, I think that's going to be it. But I'm going to go ahead and let me get in a good camera position here. Let me get in a good, nice, scenic camera position to say goodbye to everybody. Look at that. The sunset is behind my tractor here. It's a beautiful sunset. Look at that, picturesque.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to let me see, Waltavius, Sunday Sweets. Thank you for coming to the channel. Waltavius says, bucking hay by hand is the worst. Yes, it is. Galactic Research Initiative, Sunday Sweets. Aaron, thank you for coming on the show, bud. I appreciate it. I'm guessing you're going to play us out. Are you going to play music? There you go. Joshua Street. Nuevo. Thank you for coming, Krusty the Clown. Yeah, can you do something like that every time I say a name? Can you do that? Krusty the Clown. Travis Nelson. Canman UK. Waltavius. Maxi Ponce. MOSFET. Canthro the Canthro. Zombie Slay, Zach Yulee, and Flurb. Thank you for coming on the show. This has been a great show. Thank you, Baron, for coming. And we'll see you guys in the next one.